After the 2021 July NASCAR weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Speedway Motorsports Incorporated and Marcus Smith set out on a mission. Transform a beloved fan favorite into what could hopefully be a fan favorite of the future. 28 degrees of banking, narrow turns, and a widened front stretch turned Atlanta into a new age mini super speedway, and it's anything but predictable. Pair it with the MPI Cup Series mid-season points shift, and we've got the 18th round of the 2022 MPI Cup Series season, the Georgia 250. Hi, welcome to PitStop TV and the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. I'm Andrew Cardinal IV with Emerson Arden alongside. It's finally here, Emerson. The new Atlanta Motor Speedway on iRacing, designed by iRacing. It's more than polarizing. You either love it or you hate it, but many sim racers are finally coming around on the idea after racing on it themselves.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute blast on the sim over the past week. A lot of these drivers, they're still learning how this track really works because it is unlike no other. It is a mile and a half, but you have the pack racing of a normal super speedway. It's I guess similar to with these cars with the 550 horsepower package, but you just turn up a whole new wick with the banking in the corners and then narrowing the corners, which just makes the action all more compact, and the likelihood for action and chaos just goes up.
You can see qualifying is underway here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Glad to have you tuning in, and a big shout out to my boy Caleb Gladney, who has worked with us in the past here at PitStop TV. He is one of the PA announcers at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Heard him a few times even through the TV broadcast. But as we get ready for this evening, let's first start on the track map and then go right to qualifying. We'll talk more about some other stuff later. Here is the Atlanta Motor Speedway. The track outline has not changed a bit, Emerson, aside from the dog leg corners being a little bit more narrowed into the racetrack. That's the only thing that's changed here. Otherwise, it's just the banking and the width of the track. The outline hasn't changed. It's still the same old Atlanta shape. It's just a different Atlanta feel.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in the 510 horsepower package here. So the speeds we're hitting here are not really any faster than what we're used to. But again, they narrowed the corners. You'll feel, I guess, a more hectic Daytona vibe in the middle of these corners. And then really the only place you can trust yourself pushing is that back straightaway, because in the quad oval, you don't really know where the car in front of you is going to go. Because again, it's 4 lanes wide, and you don't know if they're going to clip the apron or whatnot. It's going to be a good time.
You can see as qualifying rolls on here, 7 minutes or so to go, just under 7 minutes to go in this qualifying session. It's a bit of a longer one, and this track is definitely going to look different. Let's take an onboard and show you exactly what is different here at Atlanta. Actually, Hurley's coming into the pit lane, so we'll go to somebody else. How about James Kunkel, as he is on his first flying lap here at the new Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is out of turn number 4. You can see the timer is coming up on 30 seconds. It is a little bit slower from past years. That is to be expected. But across the line, you can see just how much wider this dogleg is, this quad oval here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Into turn 1, this part of the track is much more narrow, and Ryan Kendall goes to the top of the board in car 68. But you're qualifying here just like a super speedway, Emerson, just like Daytona, just like Talladega. You are pinned right down on the bottom for your flying laps. You've got to be down on that white and red line.
Absolutely, and we'll see if he does it here. But the real strategy that has been coming to fruition this week is right there, cutting through the quad oval, which by iRacing rules, you're allowed to do that.
But only in qualifying here in MPI.
Only in qualifying, that's correct. But again, you saw him running up by the one that opening lap. You don't want to be right up against the outside wall because I guess the side draft effects with the outside wall, it starts to slow your car down. So you want to be about half a lane, maybe a lane off the outside wall. You're going to run out there. Isaac Mock here in the 7 car. Now let's see what he does off of turn 4. There he goes through the quad oval. You want to straight line it through the quad oval. It's like a 31.895 for Mock.
That puts him, let's see, 18th on the board. It's not very far off a pole, but hey, this is a super speedway now. These guys are going to qualify and race like a super speedway. Your top, well, your 20 cars that are qualified are all within 1 within 2/10, within 1 3/4 of a tenth of one another. So that is very, very close on the timesheet. Let's go ahead and check out the standings, as it looks like qualifying is coming to a lull. Some other cars might head out onto the track, but after 17 races of 35, so we're really at your mid-season point. This is how things look, and you can see with that win last week at Road America, I guess, was that last week, 2 weeks ago? I'm losing track, Emerson, but with that win, I guess 2 weeks ago now, Mario Miranda takes back the points lead. Steven Stempien falling behind 4 points back now. And Lawson Peel, Joe Sanchez, they haven't moved, although they are a whole lot closer now, only 4 points apart themselves. Then Wyatt Brackett and Alex Muscarella, as Wyatt Brackett comes into a track that's historically good to him, only 1 point apart. Daniel Michel, Warren Kyle Keith, Austin Reedy, only a handful of points apart themselves. And look at Brandon Banks and Garrett Brown, 10th and 11th, 1 point apart. Joseph Mahar, Curtis Kelly, 3 points apart. Dakota Curtis, only 4 more back. Parker Bland, Austin Shoemaker, Chris Shoemaker on the cut line, Emerson, each separated by 1 point apiece. Kip Easley is only 2 more back of them. Everybody has someone to battle in this MPI Cup Series.
Absolutely, and what better track to go to at the midway point of a season than a super speedway?
Yeah.
An unpredictable super speedway where really your fate is decided by everybody else in the field. This is going to be intriguing. I think this entire point sheet is going to look a little different as we head into next week's race.
Oh yeah, we would call it the Atlanta Super Speedway, but that acronym gets a little bit troubling. This is definitely going to be a lot like Daytona, a lot like Talladega, one of those wild card races that we talk about so often. It is not going to be your conventional race in any way, shape, or form, but if you watch Sunday's, earlier today's NASCAR race, you'll see exactly what we mean. Let's go ahead and check out the Auto Tempest team standings here. Of course, brought to you by Auto Tempest. Drinkin' Bros Racing leading the way. Nothing has changed here, Emerson, aside from the order of everybody else. Podium Esports, now the second best team in the MPI Cup Series. Tow Racing moving up into third place. TOW Racing, I'm not sure actually. Sega Keith Motorsports, though, now into the top half of the field, into fourth. Prestige Worldwide has dropped from second to fifth. Whiplash Media down there. Fast Banana also bringing up the rear, and SK Sim Racing. I see, what I would think would be SK Sim Racing, Sean Kalis, right? They're out here each week, but I guess they're not accruing points for the team. I'm not sure why, but they are down at the bottom of the board as that qualifying rolls on. Justin Winters just wrapped up his run. Bill Schoonover now on track, and we have not talked much about the number 9 in recent weeks. Emerson, here he is on track for qualifying.
And Bill Schoonover and Bud Machine number 9 Ford Mustang, looking to see what he can do here on his out lap. So still trying to get this bad boy up to speed. Well, he's actually cut through the quad oval, so I guess we're going on our fast lap right now. He's going to keep cutting through the quad oval on that time lap. It's an intriguing. Well, you see, I think this is the lap that's going to count here. I don't think he ran that outside lane on his opening lap. And I think he was still trying to spool up some speed on the second lap, or for his second lap. Halfway down the back, though. Little higher down the back straightaway, but it gets you a nice arc into the corner.
Here we go. Stempien's money run to the line. And does it go, well, it goes 15th. That doesn't go quite to the top 10, but Stempien gets a good time in regardless, and he's going to throw that car into a bit of a spin in turn 1. Here's Brandon Banks, some interesting colors on board his machine, and Schoonover, you know what? I would not have expected this given the line that he was running, Emerson. He goes to 12th, which is quite a bit faster than Stempien, and nearly, of course, in that top 10, only a little bit off of Wyatt Brackett, and a little more off of Dakota Curtis to make the top 10. Stevens, Banks, they come across the line. Banks just got his first lap in, and a little bit sketchy there into 1.
Yeah, I guess the benefit is that you do have multiple laps to do it right. I believe this is still his first lap, so he's getting out there, getting at it. It gets a nice little arc into 3 and 4. He'll try to set himself up nicely for a second run at it here. This might be the first one because he already has a best lap 32.3.
Yeah, this is his second lap.
For Banks, that's not going to do him too well. It'll be, last of the qualified times.
Travis Stevens, though, goes into the 10th position, and I believe, yes, that was his second lap as well, so he will post into the top 10. Here's Joseph Mahar with a chance to knock somebody out of the top 10. His first lap across the line, it's going to be a 32.349, which is dead last so far. But that's sometimes what you want on your first lap out there, Emerson. You want it to be slow because it means you're running the top side, getting that motor spooled up, as we talked about. And with these guys not lifting, there's no off-throttle time in their qualifying laps. That's very, very important.
Absolutely, and here he comes into 3, nice arc into the corner. What you want to do here, you don't want to be moving the wheel here in the corner. You want to have the wheel steady. Once you turn into the corner, you want to hold it at that angle and then let the car do the rest of the work. Through the quad oval, cutting through the apron to the line.
31.81. 8th.
It's 8th quickest. Top 10.
Wow, good lap for him. He will go to the 8th spot ahead of Parker Bland and Warren Kyle Keith, and that bumps Travis Stevens now out of the top 10 and Dakota Curtis down to the 12th position here in qualifying. So that will be it for our qualifying session. And this is it. We're going into racing. This is kind of, this is definitely a fun one for me. I haven't gotten a chance to run here myself, Emerson, throughout the week, but I know that drivers have got to be, I think, on their toes going into this one. I can't imagine that anybody would be, I guess, calm into this race, because there's just so many unknowns, and truly, I don't think anybody knows exactly what's going to happen. Let's go ahead and walk down our Whiplash Media starting grid. Ryan Kendall on pole. How about that for car 68, putting down a solid time. Just ahead of Mario Miranda, your points leader. So clearly, Ryan Kendall can hang here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Starting third, you'll find Curtis Kelly in car 29. Zach Wilson. Emerson, we were talking about him being single-dimensional, leading so many laps at Richmond, maybe some at Dover, and not much since. He's starting fourth today. We'll see what he can do. Chris Shoemaker starting from the 5th spot in car 4. Justin Hendry starting from 6th. To round out your top 10, you've got Kip Easley and Joseph Mahar, then Parker Bland and Warren Kyle Keith in his black Ford Mustang.
We keep rolling down the list to row number 6. It's the 2 of Travis Stevens, the 1 of Dakota Curtis. He'll start 12th. Row number 7, it'll be driver of the number 10, Wyatt Bracken. He's got a lot of success here. Will that translate to the Super Speedway portion, reconfigure of this track? We'll have to see. He'll start 13th. Bill Schoonevert, who was outside, in 14th. Row number 8, it will be drivers Kevin Hurley and Richard Swavely, 42 and 32, both respectively 15th and 16th. And we find our way back to row number 9. And it'll be James Kunkel in the 3, Steven Stempian in the 81. I'm sure 18th is not what he expected out of the qualifying session. It's Daniel Holdcroft and Alex Muscarella to round out the top 20.
Just looking through season stats, this is the first pole of the season for Ryan Kendall. Starting 21st today, you'll find Justin Winters in car 88. Chris Progar rolls off from the 22nd position. And starting 23rd, it's Isaac Mock. Not quite at Mock speed, Emerson. I stole that one from you intentionally. Justin Erb will start from the 24th spot. Brad Fulham will start 25th, and Brandon Banks 26th. Lawson Peel 27th. A really deep starting effort for car 53. Third in the points. Ray Rogers will roll off from 28th position. To round out your top 30, Emerson, it's Joe Sanchez and Ross Arlo.
All right, on the 31st, we'll find the 25 of Daniel Michel and the 93 Cody Kinsey there in 32nd. Row number 17, looks like we'll have driver 85, Judd Danielson, and the 6 of Dustin Reeves. Find our way back to 35th, and it is the 43 of Sean Kalis, the 84 of Casey Knighton. He'll start 36th. Finding our way back to, that'll be it for tonight's grid. 36 cars ready to do battle at a very tricky super speedway for what it's worth.
Weather conditions headed into the Georgia 250. It's toasty. It's not too hot out there, Emerson, but it's definitely not cold. Air temp, 90 degrees, nearly on the dot. Track temp, 115, and mixing between baking sunlight and cooling shade out there in the virtual Hampton, Georgia. Ryan Kendall on pole. Calm winds should keep him calm from the first starting position, but only time will tell as we're about to release 36 drivers onto this racetrack in their fullest of forms. Down to the Geico restart zone to get this race started. Ryan Kendall on pole. Green flag will fly. We're racing in the Georgia 250. Out of turn number 4, Ryan Kendall still on the bottom side. It's Mario Miranda outside. Lap 1 goes complete. And I'm not sure who led. It was a drag race to the line, and I think dead even for cars 68 and 99, but into one, advantage Miranda.
It was Miranda by 5 1,000ths of a second that time by the start-finish line. Now let's see what can happen in 163 laps time. I guess 162 for now. That outside line is starting to boast a little bit of speed with Zach Wilson laying the back bumper, or laying his nose to the back bumper of the 99. But here comes the surge up the inside to the line. That time goes to Ryan Kendall.
on board with his pusher. Curtis Kelly in behind car 68. You're looking at the back end of the Fast Banana machine of, well, Ryan Kendall, your race leader, your point leader, not point leader, pole sitter is what I'm looking for. Back deep in the field, Emerson, they are moving around, jumping, jostling, fighting for position. This is a rare single file look from Chris Progar's machine as you watch the entire front half of the field head off into turns 3 and 4. And it sounds like, Emerson, the 17 is almost bogging down, scraping on the racetrack a little bit. We'll see if that's an issue for these drivers throughout the course of the afternoon. Down across the line, we'll complete lap 3, and this is the front of the field.
And what you mentioned, it sounds like he's bogging down. So there's a couple things to that. He could be, well, certainly it sounds like he's probably in 5th gear. And I say that because you can almost, unless you're either being pushed in a tandem or being the one pushing in a tandem, you probably should be in 4th gear if you're just running kind of alone in the middle of the pack or out in front of the field. You can be running in 4th gear and just be fine. Your temperatures won't start to creep up on you whatsoever, from what I've seen on the fixed setup anyway. For also what it's could be saving tires, because tires will become a factor. It's not something you usually talk about in super speedways, but they will become a factor tonight.
Let's go on board here with Chris Progar. Yes, he is in 5th gear, and I don't necessarily dislike this approach, Emerson. When we come to these super speedway races, we actually tend to talk about fuel a lot more than we might usually. The reason being, if we get into a green-white checkered scenario, you called out being in 5th gear, this is running lower RPMs in that car. All the other effects you just mentioned, plus lower RPMs, it's an interesting, I guess, set of diverse strategies. Really, there's only a couple different ones you can go with, but they are starkly different. Do you try and save fuel in these early goings? Do you try and push for the stages? Those will fly at laps 40 and 80 today in this 163 lap race, 250 miles. So definitely got to play the stages, I think, if you're in this points race, if you're around the top 16 or even top 20. But if you're Chris Progar, well, he's in that points battle. I'm kind of surprised he's laying back, actually. He's in 21st position, but we'll see how this works out for him. It could also, at some point, help him get stage points. We don't know. We'll see how this day goes. We talk about unknowns, and definitely, I think, fuel strategy, pit strategy is at the center of those unknowns. Here's the field, though, down the backstretch. Your top 3 getting single file, and, Emerson, I haven't seen as much racing, admittedly, as I would have liked to this week. Is this a bit more normal to what we might see throughout the afternoon? The bottom side, getting a few guys to split away, and the battle happening further back. Well, it looks like we lost Emerson for a moment. I can see him trying to keep up, but we're not hearing him. So Ryan Kendall leading the bottom side. We've got Curtis Kelly just behind, then Kip Easley, Dakota Curtis on the bottom. And a big move there out of Zach Wilson. He goes from the basement to the attic, rather. And now you can see Kip Easley thinking about going high and blocking car 51. But that Toyota Camry has a clean set of air ahead of him for now through the quad oval, and he's starting to lose time. Curtis goes by on the bottom, and I really think, as this afternoon advances, as this day evolves, the bottom is going to be preferential just because you can cut that quad oval. You can obviously have that inside line in a point in time where you're flat out. You're not really dealing with those big, I guess, cornering difficulties. So we'll see how that changes.
Yes, certainly. As for what it's worth, it is very possible for a breakaway to form because of how strong the side draft effects are in this next-gen car on iRacing. But I do know that tires start to become a factor, and they start to really become a factor on that bottom lane. So if you're not lifting on corner entry to get your car down to the bottom, you're going to start to feel that right front tire go when you might see these drivers move up to the top side. But also, the other side of that is on the top side, you start to lose a little bit of the right rear, and you'll see drivers get loose, and that's how we can potentially some accidents later today.
Heading to turn 4, you can see just how spaced apart these groups are on the racetrack. There's a second or a tertiary group way back here with Brandon Banks and some others. This is definitely racing like a Daytona or Talladega, Emerson. I didn't quite expect it to be this spread out, but I expected it to be spread out in some regard. Some of those guys are leaning way back. I mean, 10 seconds back in the race leader at a place like Atlanta where you're turning 30-second laps. That's a third of a lap, and we're only on lap 10.
And, that's part of it. The unknowns of this track, they don't want to be maybe in the vicinity if a huge wreck breaks out, or this could be a strategy play. You see Stempy and heading that line. Is there maybe a little bit of fuel saving going on? Who's to know? I guess we're going to find out throughout the day. But Stempy, you saw he didn't get the greatest of qualifying positions, and he decided, since he's already back here, he's just going to keep it back here, keep his car clean. And I'd imagine he can't even really see the lead pack from back here. But if a caution comes out, he'll be the first to know.
We're talking about a mile less than we are Daytona or Talladega, Emerson. This is a much smaller track. Only, again, 30-second lap times at about $170, $175, $180 almost. This is an intermediate track. This is not a big racetrack compared to what we might see for this kind of racing. So this strategy is really odd to me. I would think that you'd want to be at worst in the secondary pack, about where that secondary pack is, about 5 seconds or so off the leaders. And Steppian's in that 5th gear. How about Muscarella, who's leading up the second group? He's in 5th gear, riding around. This is just odd to me, a little bit abnormal, I would say. But hey, we'll see how things go, and we'll see if it pays off for them. As you see, Muscarella, Winters, Progar, and some others back here in this second group. Some other drivers in that third group, Emerson. You've got Brandon Banks, Joe Sanchez, Ray Rogers, Dustin Reeves, Casey Knighton, Daniel Michel, Cody Kinsey, Lawson Peel, Judd Danielson, and Sean Kalis. A lot of these guys, I shouldn't say a lot of them, several of them, they have race wins, or they're plenty good on points right now. They don't have to race up front, and I think we're seeing that, certainly.
Absolutely. If there's either, not too much of a cause for concern to get up there and get all you can in the early parts of this race, or it just won't help you all that much, there is no need to be up here. But you start to see this field is starting to calm down. And I am actually, we have one car on the apron. I'd imagine that's probably somebody who either got loose or just wants to bail out.
Yeah, that's Warren just bailing out.
Yeah, Warren wants out of that thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see a few more cars drop down there, and not really of their own doing as we get later in the run.
Pretty wide back here with Mario Miranda, though, in the 99. He drops down behind Chris Shoemaker and Parker Bland. Bland with a good start to the afternoon as well in car 01. This is what you like to see for drivers like this, especially at a place like this. And I say that he's going to drop down and get out of this top several drivers and drop behind Warren Kyle Keith into the 15th position. The problem for him, he's only got 2 cars behind him, Emerson, and this is always a challenge to me, trying to hang on to the back end of the lead group without losing the lead group. Travis Stevens, Richard Swavely, Parker Bland, they're back here. They've got to make sure not to lose touch, because again, you can easily lose touch. You can end up in that second group, and you're racing for stage points here at some point. So these guys, I think they've got to be a little more careful in this. They've got to get back up to that lead group and get back in line with them, especially as the lead group gets single file up here with Ryan Kendall, Curtis Kelly, Dakota Curtis, and more leading things. And you know what? We're seeing a lot of the same players from Talladega in this group, Emerson. Ryan Kendall leading. He was a player at Talladega. Curtis Kelly as well. We said his name a lot at Dega. Dakota Curtis, James Kunkel, Wyatt Brackett. They were all in the conversation. And it makes sense now why they're leading here.
Absolutely. And you start to see the gap between the first and the second pack. It is nearly that full second. That really means danger zone. You see those boys. They're starting to get lined up here. It's the middle portion of the lead pack. Gets a little rowdy. Cars leaning on one another. You see the 31 to Holdcroft.
Oh, Holdcroft in the fence. Problems for car 31. He's grinding down the outside wall. Hopefully no suspension damage. He is very slow on the front stretch. And, this does not look good. He's off pace. He stayed in 5th gear that entire time. I don't know why he wouldn't have downshifted. Now he finally downshifts. I think he was trying to get in line with the second group, but they're likely going to pass him up as we've got to change for the race lead. Ryan Kendall down to the bottom.
He got loose out of turn 2 there, Andrew. That's what I've been talking about. Curtis Kelly took the lead, and Dakota Curtis shot right to the inside. It's side-by-side for the race lead.
Side-by-side cars 1 and 29. The drag race for the lap goes to Dakota Curtis in that brand new Sunoco Toyota Camry. Beautiful livery, beautiful paint scheme on that Toyota as he moves ahead of the number 29 and number 3. So taking over here at Atlanta as, cars are definitely starting to step out of turn number 2.
And that's really going to be the problem. Calamity Corner today. On most ovals, it is turn 2, and it certainly looks like it's not going to be any different today here in the MPI Cup Series from Atlanta. These drivers are starting to really feel the lack of grip there on corner exit. We ride on board here. This is the 19 of Joseph Mahar. Looks like third car in the outside lane. Trying to get that outside lane rolling. And if you got some tires in your back pocket, if you haven't really worn out your tires, this outside can start
easily.
To surge. Oh, no.
Oh, here we go. On board with Mahar.
Save it. Hold on to her.
Wow.
What a catch. The caution's going to come out. But what a save from Joseph Mahar.
Wow.
Great timing on the onboard.
I believe we talked to him. I know we talked to Justin Hendry. I think he was another driver we talked to back at the All-Star race in Texas. That was a beautiful piece of driving. I think that was a good bit of luck and a whole lot of skill and just locking down at the right time and getting that car woed down. I'm speechless as to how Joseph Mahar did not just crash into turn number 3. We saw a checkup. I called it out. Kip easily got loose out of the second corner, and I thought that was really going to stack these guys up in a bad way. Let's check this out from the tower. Watch the yellow 27 leading this top line, Kevin Hurley behind him. Joseph Mahar is that third car in line, the bright yellow 19. Easily is going to step out and get loose. He checks up, Hurley checks up, and Shoemaker just runs right in the back of Mahar, who tries to save it. Wishy-washy, tail slapper, down to the bottom side and locks it down. Wow. Wow.
I mean, great heads-up driving from everybody. Pretty much behind Shoemaker there. Because Mahar went sideways, and there's about a good 5 cars that had an opportunity to get damage, and they all avoided the spinning 19. But you see there, and that happens again as the tires wear. You got to be really precise with your steering input on corner exit. A little too much wheel, and that's exactly what's going to happen there off of turn 2. Easily was able to catch it for what it's worth, but the stack up as a result of Easley's miscue there off of turn 2, and Mahar luckily able to keep that car in one piece.
Let's go on board with Easley quickly and see what we were talking about in the in-car. You can kind of see his hands at the bottom left. The car just steps out quickly, and then let's go on board with Mahar as he gets turned around, left, right. And that's a really unsettling sight to see, even in the sim, to be staring at cars as they go by you. That's one of the more unique views I think we'll see all season.
I mean, a stellar save, or stellar piece of driving from Mahar to keep that thing from wrecking. Everybody's lined up. I'd imagine 4 freshies are going to be getting on all these bad boys right here. Oh, I guess not. I guess I should have thought we do have only 5 sets of tires.
Yeah, only 4 sets of change tires. That's going to restrict what these guys could do. And you can see the red lights in pit lane. I don't know whether that's accurate. I think pit lane would have been open that time. Unless there was a second lap by Emerson, we could actually.
Yeah, we're on one to green.
Go. Yeah, we're 1 to green. So this is a quickie yellow. We see this a lot of times on super speedways. So it's not entirely surprising, especially with the entire field on the lead lap. The only driver.
Oh no!
I don't know how that happens.
I think somebody else might have just hit him right there.
Yep. That was Richard Swavely turned around. Hopefully this restart gets waved off. Swavely has a lot of damage. Yeah, that's torn up. Wow.
Yeah, we're not in the shape to go right now. It's crazy. I'm assuming he either popped the clutch there, maybe saving fuel, or just dropped the gear.
Here's Swavely. And into turn 1 here, under caution. That car is going to pop around, and I think just on a gear change right there, over revs into the wall. We've seen this before. I think it was Sanchez at Dover, and Fulham gets a piece of him there. That car is looking worse for you for sure.
Yep. And race controls extended the yellow.
Yeah, as was definitely needed after an incident like that under caution. So let's see. The field is into turns 3 and 4. Pace car lights back on. Swavely gets back into position, but I'm not sure that car is going to be entirely healthy. You know what we can do, Emerson? By the virtue of technology, we can actually dial up driver 32 and hear exactly how that car is handling, maybe as well how the engine is doing. Emerson, here is driver 32, Richard Swavely.
Well, bizarre set of events there under caution, Richard. Well, first of all, what happened?
I was with the worn tires. I was curious if we could do a first gear start like we can do on the initials, and we can't.
How bad is the car, or is it all in tip-top shape to go racing again?
As far as I know, it's all cosmetics, or should be fine. So.
Right on. Well, it looks like you are going to be restarting here about 12th or 14th here. So you're up on the outside lane. Best luck to your driver. Hopefully we're talking to you a little later on.
Yeah, I want to try to keep my nose clean and not do that ever again.
Fair enough. Driver number 32, Richard Swavely.
That is definitely going to be a reset point for him as far as the driver mindset as we get ready to go back. Green flag racing looks like is part of the Burnt Rubber Media crew. That left rear is concerning to me, Emerson. It looks maybe a little bit suspicious. Roy got hit by Fulham as well. The camber looks close to others, but I don't know. And that right front as well, where he nosed into the fence, I'm not sure. We'll see here in a few moments. But our race leaders into turns 3 and 4, and actually exiting turn 4 here in just a couple of moments. This is what we're going to talk about for the first time, the Geico restart zone, Emerson. You can see where these guys have to come down to the green flag. Here it is in that restart zone. Nice and easy start for Dakota Curtis. Fires off perfectly. Spread out restart. Curtis leading the way. Curtis Kelly in second place alongside James Kunkel, Wyatt Brackett, and more as they head through 3 and 4.
Dakota Curtis got a big gap out there, but here comes Curtis Kelly eating him right up, and that's what happens. You're a sitting duck when you get a gap out there that big. It's Curtis Kelly with the race lead. Wyatt Brackett to second, 3 wide behind.
Big moves all around this top 10. You can see Chris Shoemaker all the way up the racetrack. Miranda through the middle, easily down low as these guys are nursing those worn tires as we get back racing. That heat cycle, we talk about it at several racetracks, Emerson, where they cool the tires down under yellow. As Hendry goes down to the bottom side of bracket, they cool the tires down under yellow and then heat them right back up. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky.
Absolutely, and then you said the track temp. We're in the, triple-digit track temp. This is a very hot track for these tires to be worn. These drivers are not getting any favors here at Hot Atlanta, and it's Curtis Kelly with clear to the race lead. Brackett is cleared there in second as well. The top 3 and a checkup on the inside.
They head by our speed shot on the backstretch. Zach Wilson now moving up into the top 3. Top 2 even battling here with Wyatt Brackett for the second position. Miranda back into the top 5. He wants stage points if he can get them. As we run back to the start-finish line, it's Curtis Kelly leading. Wyatt Brackett on the top side. And Emerson, he's been historically good here in the MPI Cup Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I know it's an entirely different Atlanta Motor Speedway from years past, but he's been weirdly good. Go back to Season 3, I believe, one of his first seasons here, if not his first season in this league. He actually finished second to John Kinder here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. He finished second or third, I believe, in Season 4 as well. He's just oddly good, Wyatt Brackett. Watch for him to be good today.
Absolutely. You were telling me this before the show, and I didn't know how much stock to put into it because, again, it's a super speedway. But the more you think about it, it's a super speedway that, requires a little bit of skill. A lot of tire wear here. The bumps are still a thing. They did just kind of, there was a little bit of a reconfigure, but for the most part, it's just paved over. So there's still a lot of the bumps here. Maybe there is a little something to it with all the success beforehand here at the old Atlanta. But still side by side for that second position. Curtis Kelly is playing the Pied Piper role and playing both lines up front. Oh, here comes Brackett to the outside.
Zach Wilson down low helping Kelly. Miranda as they stack up on the bottom into 1. Zach Wilson lifted a lot, and Hendry was not ready for it, but they keep going. You talk about the way they kept the bumps in the racetrack. I'm not sure how they did it. There's a big unsettling bump at a 2, and the rest of the track just has some of that charm you'd expect from Atlanta and other racetracks like it. As Miranda slid down right in front of Kelly. That was close. That was dangerous almost for Mario Miranda. Glad nothing bad happened of it as we are inside of 10 to go in stage 1. But this racetrack was actually completely, they added 4 degrees of banking. That's no easy task. They completely moved the corners in a little, I guess, out from the infield, but into the earth a little bit. They had to dig out a ton. And somehow, it kept its charm. It kept its bumps throughout the course. It's 1.54 mile intermediate track. I say intermediate super speedway maybe. That might be a new term here in NASCAR racing. It's crazy how it's still got some of the old bumps. Of course, it's way smoother now. It's 2022. We've got realistic, we've got quite good paving technology in today's age, but it still has those bumps. It still has what makes it difficult here.
Absolutely, and I think that's a huge part of the tire wear vat and the very defined seams in the racetrack. You see it's 114 degrees of track temp. It's only dropped 1 degree Fahrenheit in track temp. It is still really hot. Not as hot as it was for me earlier today. I feel like it was 3 degrees hotter than that track temp. But it's hot, and these tires are not getting any favors. The battle for the lead continues. Miranda down low. He had cleared Brackett. Brackett's back to his outside.
Side by side, 99 and 10 with 29 and 4 behind, then 51 and 42. Miranda a little bit loose on that bottom side. Kelly goes down to the bottom, 3 wide. Mario is going to have to lift out of it, and he does. Drops back a little bit as caution will fly.
Miranda got lucky, man. He was about to get sent down the sucker hole, and the caution comes out.
Don't see where the caution would have been. Swavely.
Oh, no. Richard Swavely. Bad night gone worse.
Problems for car 32. And this caution will prompt an interesting question, Emerson, of do you pit or do you stay out? You can get tires here, and I think they'll be pretty darn okay come time for the restart, but you are, of course, giving up a lot of track position in doing so. So this is a very interesting decision, I think, that a lot of drivers are going to have to make. Here's Swavely, who's at the back end of this lead group with Kip Easley and Ryan Kendall. And out of turn 2, we just somehow missed this, and he came right up on Kendall. And we'll go for a spin. Oh, boy. That was close.
Yeah, not entirely sure what happened there. That was well on the straightaway.
I'm going to have to be honest. It really does look like he just comes up the racetrack a little bit. We'll see it a little better, I think, from this blimp. And yeah, I'm not sure if he thought he had more room or if he thought it was clear, but comes up the racetrack certainly, and unfortunately gets turned around in front of the field. There's Travis Stevens going by, and if his night wasn't already bad, it's just gotten a whole lot worse.
So pit lane was open that past time, and a lot of drivers stayed out.
Your top 14 are going to stay out here. Actually, your top 17. One driver did pit on the previous yellow. That was Daniel Holdcroft. The first car, actually, more cars pitted. Judd Danielson, Dustin Reeves, and Ray Rogers. The first car who pitted under this yellow, though, is Zach Wilson. And this is somebody who's got a race win, but he needs to point his way back into the top 30. I do believe, at least per NASCAR regulations. Could be different here in MPI. We haven't actually gotten clarification on that yet. But Wilson, you would think, would have to be back in the top 30 to make the playoffs. So he will pit and give up this opportunity for stage points. Joseph Mahar behind him also pits. Warren Kyle Keith in the 22. There's his car, a new look for him this week. I already mentioned Joseph Mahar actually. Brad Fulham, he just pitted. He made contact with Richard Swavely in that caution incident a little bit ago. Then Sean Kalist, Casey Knighton, Lawson Peel, Joe Sanchez. Some pitters on this second yellow, including Daniel Michel and Steven Stempian. Kind of interesting to see those drivers come down the pit lane. I don't think we're going to be talking to them for some time. And Sanchez is coming back in along with Michel. Wow.
Well, it might as well, right? So you're giving up stage points here. You're kind of going for the long haul here. Might as well get that bad boy topped off on field here. You got to take it very easy. You're probably not even going to think about
tires going on now? Don't tell me.
Oh, no.
Don't tell. Oh, he might have taken rights and decided to come back in for lefts.
Right,
I think Michel behind him just came in for fuel only. Hopefully, Sanchez didn't mistakenly just take an extra set of left side tires. That would be unfortunate.
Yeah, and again, unlike most super speedways, if he did accidentally take a left side set there, he might need those later.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a might. I think he will need those later on in the day. So your top 14 drivers have not pitted. 15th place in Holdcroft. He took full service on the first yellow. Schoonover and Stevens, the only other two drivers that have not pitted yet in this race. Danielson, Reeves, Rogers on semi-old tires. Everybody else on 4 freshies, aside from maybe 1 or 2 that might have taken fuel only to try and save a set of tires, at least for what we're seeing. And again, this is where we're going to see the first split in strategy, I think, the first real big split, as we've seen. Drivers taking tires ahead of this yellow, drivers opting not to. Back into the Geico restart zone we'll go in just one moment. Love this is now implemented on iRacing. We can talk more about it here in a bit. Green flag will fly. Brackett takes over the race lead. It's going to be a 2-lap sprint to the end of stage 1, and already it's a single file top 4. Wyatt Brackett in front of it all. I almost feel like he'd be better off if it was double file, Emerson, as, well, here comes Curtis Kelly looking to the inside. Miranda can do the same. Muscarella now a run on the top.
Alex Muscarella, a huge run on that top side, trying to see where he can go with it. 2 laps to go here in stage 1. The top 3 still single file. And here comes Mario Miranda making a huge move to the inside of Curtis Kelly.
This is now white flag for the stage, where we throw it at the beginning of the stage lap, not the end. Kind of different from NASCAR. Brackett's got the lead, but it's side by side behind him. Miranda down low, Kelly up high. Kelly now drops down in front of Miranda. Here goes Muscarella for the second position, battling for stage points. The top 10 get him. 11th on back, do not. To the start-finish line, it's going to be car 10 with the stage win. Kelly goes second, then Muscarella and more.
There's the stage yellow. You're right, Wyatt Brackett with the stage victory. A brilliant job fending off a hard-charging duo of cars. And Kelly, I thought he had a chance to drop down there to the inside in turn 3. And, well, he did in front of Miranda, did not dive it up to the inside of Brackett.
So Wyatt Brackett is making me look like a bit of a genius, but we're only 40 laps in, as the Fast Banana Racing number 10 Chevrolet will go to, not stage victory lane, but is there a place you go for a stage win? I guess pit road anyway, as he wins the stage over Curtis Kelly, Alex Muscarella, Mario Miranda, James Kunkel, Chris Shoemaker, Kip Beasley, Kevin Hurley, Justin Hendry, and Parker Bland. Your top 10 at time of caution. So Bland getting himself a stage point, that's actually quite important for the season for Parker. Dakota Curtis missing one, that's also quite important. He could have gotten a couple of stage points, I think really would have needed them. Ryan Kendall, Justin Winters, Justin Erb, and Daniel Holdcroft also narrowly missing on stage points. We'll come down to the pit entry, and we should see most, if not all, of these guys head on down.
I think a lot of guys who just pit on that most recent caution might stay out here. So we might get a whole shakeup here. Or if they come down, it's just a splash of fuel. See Mahar staying out there.
And Mahar pitted 5 laps ago. So yeah, that's where you're starting to see some of those guys that pitted earlier as everybody else peels down into the pit lane. A good look here at just how far these guys have to come over into their pit stalls. A wide pit road here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, also used for drag racing. Let's see who exits first. I'd imagine it should be car 10, but we'll see. Wyatt Brackett
easily
down and away, and yes, he will lead the charge off the pit lane. So Wyatt Brackett will be the first stage winner. That's 10 points. Let's go ahead and get the Fast Banana Racing driver of the number 10 out of the great state of Maine. I've got to find him, though, in the Discord chat. It's always one of the biggest challenges, I feel like, in the broadcast. But there is Wyatt Brackett. We'll drag him on in and get a word with our stage number 1 winner. Wyatt, I noticed a few stat lines earlier in the day preparing for this race that you are actually oddly good here at Atlanta in the MPI Cup Series, and you're proving me a genius so far. Can you do it for 120 more laps?
That's the plan, man. Just stay out of trouble, ride that high line, and just cruise off in the sunset to victory. That's what I'm hoping for. You know, I've had second and third places here. I don't think I've really finished outside the top 5 in the MPI Cup Series here, so I'm hoping to finally reel in that victory at Atlanta.
That's exactly right. From what I can find, no, you have not. You have really good finishes here so far through 3 starts. What makes you good at Atlanta, and how does that differ, obviously, from old Atlanta to new Atlanta? I mean, completely different racetracks, but help illustrate it.
Be patient, man, and just don't push nothing. You really don't force nothing, and you just kind of take it when you can, and it helps me out in the long run. So that's what the plan is here tonight. I just kind of manage my way to the front slowly, and that's hopefully the plan here again.
First car off pit lane, that means you're around some new players as they pitted a little bit ago on that most recent yellow. So you're going to have to race against guys you haven't yet in this event. Is that concerning at all? Do you have a game plan for that?
No, just like I said, I'm just going to ride and hope for the best and let these guys do what they do best and just pick them off one by one.
There you go, Wyatt Brackett out of the great state of Maine, restarting 6th after winning stage number 1. Buddy, best of luck to you here in stage 2, and the rest of the race. We'll be talking to you later.
Thank you, guys.
Pretty proud of that pre-race analysis, Emerson. I just want to say, I pride myself in getting stats together sometimes, and glad this one's paying off as he's going to restart, like I said, in the 5th position. It looks like the bottom lane, or 6th position, is the bottom lane is kind of lagging here under formation. K-List falling back, and yeah, that's what it is. But we'll get this entire field around to the start-finish line this time to restart. Emerson, how do you think these old tires up front will fit?
I think they're just fine. If they just pitted 5 laps ago, I'd imagine they all took it very easy, or they should have taken it very easy at the back of the field, just taking nice wide arcs into the corners, really lifting on entry, and it might be a little better here on fire off anyway because they have already gone up in temperature, but here comes the base car.
Down to the Geico restart zone one more time. You can see exactly when these guys get on the throttle to restart this race. Mahar launches, we're back racing. To begin stage 2, here comes car 22 on the top side. A big push from Wyatt Brackett. That black Ford Mustang goes to the point at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
And how about that? Warren Kyle Keith to the lead. Brackett, he has an opportunity to take it right back here, take the lead right back. He looks to the outside, a huge head of steam and a line behind him. Wyatt Brackett will retake the lead here at Atlanta. He's got Mario Miranda right in pursuit. And they both clear down to the bottom side, leaving 42 out to dry down the high side.
Miranda stays up top with Brackett. Moving around, trying to find the best line for them. Now the top 3 drop down to the bottom in the corner. Warren Kyle Keith led that lap, got his bonus point, and said, peace out, I'll see you guys later, and drop back out of this one. There is a lap car directly ahead of these guys. It looks like that might be Daniel Michel. No, that is Chris Shoemaker, actually. Running through turns 1 and 2, a little ways off pace. Not sure why he's back here, but he is. And this is going to be a bit of an obstacle.
Yeah, certainly, because there really isn't an easy way to let these guys go because you
only
can go
40
to the
feet
high
wide
side.
here.
I was like, yeah, very narrow. But it looks like he's going to try up down the high side. He'll get a little lucky with the quad oval, I guess, some extra lane. But yeah, he'll sit up there. This will be fun into one, huh?
He plays nice, gets up out of the way. Field rolls on through 1 and 2. Single file on the bottom. I think just trying to bide their time, get through these first couple of stages, and then race. There goes Warren Kyle Keith down to the bottom side. Dakota Curtis now in the 4th spot. Justin Hendry, the top 5. Joseph Mahar there as well. Those 3 working together on the bottom side. Curtis down to the inside of Kevin Hurley for 3rd.
I say Dakota Curtis made a big-time move to put himself into the top 3, and he's looking for more. He's looking down to the inside of Mario Miranda. Miranda gets that nice arc into the corner. The same with, of course, race leader Wyatt Brackett. Here off the corner, Miranda has all the opportunity in the world to look out and pass, but he'll stay in line. Here comes Dakota Curtis.
The Sunoco Toyota Camry down to the bottom side of turns 3 and 4. Lap 48, but he's racing like he wants to win it all. And you can see out of the corner, that bottom side just chugs. It kind of woes down a little bit. They don't have the same momentum as they did through the corner.
And that's kind of how we normally see it at these tracks. Any real mile and a half that has some banking in the corners, you'll notice the top side is the side that usually gets the run down the straightaway. And that holds true here at the Super Speedway Atlanta. You'll see the entry to the corner goes to the inside lane, but after that outside lane, they're just able to maintain their speed up there. The outside lane is fine and dandy, and this is kind of more or less what I was expecting. This is what I saw in the officials all week. Of a leader, especially if the leader was, I guess, more of a knowledgeable driver, they would choose to just be leading that outside lane because it'd be almost impossible to pass him unless he had severely fresher tires. And now Wyatt Brackett is in charge of this field, and he's not even really dropping down to that inside lane.
What I noticed in the NASCAR race today, all 20 laps that I watched, and even in the first 40 laps of this race, Emerson, is the bottom seemed preferential. It seemed like you could swap out the lead more easily by running the bottom and getting a run, going past, and then you move up to try and control, and it just doesn't work. But now, as this track takes more temperature, takes more rubber, and the day ages on, as tires wear out for Hendry, a big bobble there on the bottom side of the corner, it seems like the top is coming in. It seems like they're starting to get more runs up there, and they're able to hang on to their lead. A big run down the backstretch that time for Brackett, Miranda, and more work in the stop side.
All right, I think it's definitely it's easier to run the bottom, and that that'll always be the thing. You have that big white and red line on the inside. You can kind of put those left sides on the banking shift there, and kind of keep the car nice and smooth down there. But on the outside lane, you do have more to manage. If somebody does pop up to that third lane, that's something you got to watch out for. But more than anything, the outside lane, you just get to be smooth. You kind of get to control how wide you take the corner. You don't really have anybody pinning you down on your right side, so you don't have to put any extra wheel into the car. Like that bottom side, they're going to start to really wear out their stuff. As this outside lane maintains their position on the outside of these inside lane cars, those tires on the inside lane cars are going to be much, much more worn as the run goes on.
As the leaders continue working here, let's go back and check out Warren Kyle O'Keefe, who dropped way back. Remember, he led a lap in this run. He's now in the 22nd spot, Emerson, matching his car number with Ray Rogers, Alex Muscarella in front of him, then Richard Swavely still in this race right behind him, car 32, just ahead of actually car 68, the car that he made contact with to bring out our most recent yellow for cause. Very interesting that they're still around each other. And Brad Fulham, another driver I noticed, Emerson, in that front group. Here he is in the bright baby teal, almost 45 Toyota Camry. Roasted Gems Coffee on the side of that machine. I'm noticing a lot more activation, by the way, from Roasted Gems Coffee. A big shout out to Roasted Gems. They've been getting involved in all levels of sim racing lately, especially here on iRacing, especially in this oval racing scene. I know they're paired up with drivers like, I want to say Jesse Whittington, Brad Fulham here this evening, I believe even Dakota Curtis, and so many more, not just in this MPI Cup Series. Roasted Gems Coffee really doing a masterclass of how to activate within iRacing, and you can see them there on the side of the 45.
Yeah, great stuff. And of course, the more and more we can add to the series, the more the series does for, the drivers get to do for each other. And iRacing continues to grow as a platform, and the more sponsors that, jump into it, the bigger everything gets positive results from more sponsors getting into everything, really.
Yeah, everything goes hand in hand. There's a reason these companies activate within sim racing, and it's these kinds of runs out of Brad Fulham getting a little bit of attention, and especially the social media aspect. Seeing these drivers take to Twitter, take to Facebook, take to Instagram to post about their sponsors, to post about their activities on iRacing. It's all so important to let people know exactly what's going on, and even if it's just for a little bit of fun, these companies are putting up a chunk of change sometimes for these drivers, a big one sometimes. So it's really important when we can talk about these partners that are getting involved with sim racing, to talk about them when we have the opportunity. And that actually is a great segue to our partners here with the MPI Cup Series and with PitStop TV. With the MPI Cup Series, of course, we have Max Pappas Innovations leading the charge there. Let's not forget, though, Auto Tempest, KaylaSynthetics.com, and SimMax, of course. A lot of great people do a lot of great things here with the MPI Cup Series, and really take this league, I think, to the next level. It's not just about sim racing sometimes. It goes a little further than that. A family aspect, a professional racing aspect almost. There's so much going on. Of course, Max Pappas Innovations takes every aspect of construction and safety to heart in the most accurate and dedicated way possible. Max Pappas' goal has always been to apply his experience and knowledge to produce a state-of-the-art product for the racing community. Auto Tempest saves you time, effort, and guesswork when buying a car by gathering results from all top used car websites. eBay Motors, Cars.com, TrueCar, you name it. Nowhere else will you find more listings in one place, and Auto Tempest makes it easy so you can spend less time looking for your ideal car and more time driving it. KaylaSynthetics.com is an independent dealer of Amsoil lubricants serving the USA and Canada alike, providing custom engine lubrication solutions to all types of customers, from residential lawn care crews to race teams to hauling fleets. They have the products and expertise to help you save time and money. Go to KaylaSynthetics.com or call 785-813-1882 to order. And our partners, of course, here at PitStop TV, doing a whole lot for us, allowing us to bring you these broadcasts week in, week out. Whiplash Media SimCams, bringing you the visuals on screen. SimWrapMarket.com, and of course, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. 60 laps will be complete this time by Emerson Arden. Glad you're joining me this evening. We have Zach Murtis. I am off tonight, but we have Zach Murtis on our social media crew this evening, getting things done over there. We certainly appreciate that effort as the field roars on by the start-finish line and completes lap number 60. Wyatt Brackett still leading the way. If you're joining us for the first time this evening somehow, well, first of all, we appreciate you being here, and this is the race rundown to this point, the race info. 3 cautions for 9 laps. One of those was our stage 1 break, and 11 lead changes in that time. I don't think we're going to push Daytona or Talladega record numbers, Emerson, but it is going to skyrocket through the course of the afternoon.
Absolutely, and the great thing is, it is that number of lead changes. You know, it keeps everybody on their toes. Even though, you know, whole field is single fouled for now, there's still opportunity. If you're in 25th, you are not out of this by any means. Of course, he's out the stage yellow, but there's still just so much more racing to go. And of course, the leader is going to be open to be passed throughout the race. Miranda right now is playing nice. He's sitting behind Wyatt Brackett, but I'm sure one of these times, maybe as we get closer to the end of the stage, he could be looking at that race lead.
This is a pretty unique view, and I like watching from this rear view sometimes on board Wyatt Brackett. You can see how the line is different from normal super speedways like Daytona and Talladega. Those places you can usually run solely on the top, solely on the bottom, solely in the middle, but these guys are switching back and forth. And I recall Dale Earnhardt Sr. talking about his qualifying runs at Daytona and how he did so well. It was actually by running this exactly line these guys are doing, where you would go up high on the straightaways, dropping down in the corners to kind of let the car walk up the banking out of the corners, you'll see here in a second from these guys, and then let it drop back down into the corner. It's using the banking to help you without scrubbing too much tire, straightening out early especially out of the corners. Getting the wheels straight as soon as possible really helps you preserve momentum and preserve tire life, which is oh so important today. They aren't so much going for the speed, Emerson, and the momentum necessarily. They're just trying to save that right front.
Absolutely, keeping those outside tires happy is the name of the game here at Atlanta. And these guys, they're taking later arcs as the laps go on. The arc into the corner happens later and later. And it's intriguing. I don't know how much later these arcs can get. You see it in the 1, and you'll see here in the 3 just how late it is Brackett getting down to the inside lane.
Watching these guys work around here. Your top 3 now starting to break away. Brackett, Miranda Hurley. Then it's Curtis Kelly in 4th place. James Kunkel in a black number 3 on the top side of turns 1 and 2. Oh, contact! Kip Easley up the racetrack. They door each other a little bit, but they keep racing. That could have been disaster.
Could have been, and a great bit of car control from each driver to hold on to that bad boy. They got some rear diffusers on the back end there, so that helps a little bit with some stability. But nonetheless, great piece of driving from both of them to hold on to her. Here comes Dakota Curtis. What does he want to do? He wants to go ahead and follow Kunkel right on through.
Curtis staying to the top side, and you know, places that you would think are multi-groove on iRacing, you would think you want to run the top side. We've actually seen that the bottom is sometimes better. It seems like running the top line on iRacing tends to overheat the right side tires. It's a big problem at Homestead Miami Speedway, for example, and potentially an issue here as well. Carrying speed, you're not slowing down, you're relying on that right front to hold you at speed through the corner. It makes a little bit of sense, but it is odd that the top side then falls away. So it's not entirely surprising, actually. These guys are doing this kind of ebb and flow throughout the corner. They're taking a wide arc, as you mentioned, into turn 1, and a nice kind of safe arc back out of the corner, just trying to keep those tires as straight as possible and reduce lateral friction, side-to-side friction on these tires.
Absolutely. I guess as you enter the corner, you're not really leaning too much on that right front. It's corner exit where that car starts to really lean its weight from that right front tire. And I guess the lower you are up the track, or on the track, you can use the hill a little bit, I guess, to counter that. I don't know. Physics will work itself out, I'm sure. And a lot of these drivers have figured it out.
A long line of cars going through. Oh, look at that. One car down to the wall. That is Brad Fulham on the bottom side. Car 45. Problems for him, and he will hit the inside wall. And that inside safer barrier, I think, saving that car from a little bit of damage. Well, He's had a little bit of damage there on the left rear of that car. All things considered, not too bad. Let's go ahead and take a replay and see exactly what happened to him here in a sec.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, a huge thing with these next-gen cars on iRacing is this new damage model that has been added to these cars. And we had them for a little bit in the Gen 6 car, a couple of days. This new damage model, these things, they can take a couple of hits. They're similar to tanks. As long as you don't break that towing, the suspension piece off, these bad boys, they can take a hit or two to the wall. And we'll see here what happened to the 45 machine.
Brad Fulham out of Canada, Roasted Gems Coffee on board, as we talked about earlier, just pops up out of the corner, gets loose, chases it, and it's really tough to save these cars, Emerson. Justin Marks actually talked about it with Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Dale Jr. download, the difference of running stock cars of years past and running the Gen 7 car. You used to hold the cars at yaw. You used to hold the cars sideways through the corner, and that's why Kyle Larson was so darn good in those cars. Now, with the next-gen car, with the Gen 7, things are just a little bit different. You can't hold the car at yaw. It makes it a bit more like a sports car through the corner. It's built completely symmetrical, so it doesn't want to get sideways like that as much. It doesn't want to hold itself at an angle like that. It doesn't want to drift through the corner anymore, and it's really tough to save. That's the important part of that. It's really tough to go back and forth on the wheel and save one of these Gen 7 cars when they step out. So you saw that, I think, on hand there earlier with Joseph Mahar, and now once again with Brad Fulham.
And you're right. Of course, the rack and pinion steering in these next-gen cars, it does a whole different number that what you have to do when you're in a situation.
It's the way the car is built.
Wait, right. And I was going to say, when you're in a spin, it's almost better to just hold the wheel, straight or whatever direction you were going, and let the aerodynamics of the car do its thing. Like, let the rear diffuser stabilize the car out, and the rear spoiler. It's so weird. It's fascinating, really, to see how this car works. I know iRacing has worked really hard on making these next-gen cars, as close as they are, as close as they can be to the real thing, and it's a lot of fun.
Whoa! Crash on the top side. Justin Hendry in the wall. Oh, more crashing. Joseph Mahar, one car in the air. Oh, that was big.
That looked like a huge hit to that car that nosed it into the outside wall. That might be a day done kind of hit to that car.
The field woes it down. I'm actually not sure who that was up in the air. I know Joseph Mahar got a good piece of things in the 19. Justin Hendry as well. There's the 19 of Mahar. How about Justin Hendry in the 11? Yep, he's down the pit lane. Big problems here in stage number 2. The back end of stage 2 as well.
And that's how quickly things can change. And again, another incident on the straightaway, Andrew.
And this should show us a little bit. They go 3 wide, Hendry in the middle in car 11. And there's contact with him and one other as it's like a replay a little bit odd there. Here we go. This should be a nice consistent shot. Watch Hendry in the middle. He's going to get split by Zach Wilson and Kip Easley and come up the racetrack at a Kip Easley, I believe. And it's kind of just on from there. Yep, comes up the racetrack. I don't know if he thought it was clear or what. Then Parker Bland gives him a turn, and he goes down the racetrack. And then Mahar comes up and mollywops a 31 of Holdcroft. That was the car in the air.
Yeah, Mahar was trying to catch it, and the 31 in the path of Mahar trying to save that machine, and absolutely a victim in this incident. Huge hit. You're right, mollywopped the 31. Absolutely. No, he's disconnected. That has ended his day.
This will be a look at things for the white and black 31 Chevrolet Camaro of Daniel Holdcroft. You see the wreck happening ahead of him. He tries to split the middle, comes up, and oh my goodness, what a hit. Ray Rogers is the big catalyst outside of that gets him up in the air. And wow.
So actually, yeah, Mahar wasn't even trying to save the car. He was trying to avoid the incident, and then saw the car coming back down the track, and swung the wheel right so he could avoid that car. And unfortunately, 31 was just out there.
under this fourth caution of the day. We're going to take a step aside. Be right back to you in time for the restart here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Georgia 250. Stick on with us here at PitStop TV. Welcome back to PitStop TV. A bit of an interesting restart as we get back to racing. The lap count will fix itself in just one moment, but we are back to green on lap 78. always a pleasing sight. Race cars back on the screen, headed into turn number 3. So we are back. Thanks for sticking with us here at PitStop TV. Love those technical difficulties, but we're back to it. Race cars through turns 3 and 4. Again, always what you want to see as we get ready to restart this race and head off into stage number 3. You saw the top 10 in the YouTube chat for stage 2. It was Brackett, Miranda, Hurley, Kelly, Curtis, Easley, Kunkel, Bland, Wilson, and Danielson as we head off into turn number 1. The race is back underway. Lap 84 begins. One lap complete from the restart. Chris Shoemaker leading the way. Joseph Mahar up top. Mario Miranda in this mix. Wyatt Brackett still up here, Emerson. The names, there's a few new ones, but otherwise, you still see Mario Miranda. You still see Wyatt Brackett. You still see Curtis Kelly, Kevin Hurley, Lawson Peel, and the rest.
And the pushes are becoming aggressive. Both Brackett and Miranda hounding the rear bumper of the car in front of him. Remember, Chris Shoemaker was on the cut line coming into today's race. What would a win do for him as he positions himself here at the front of the field into this third stage? Side by side, duking it out with Mahar on the top side. Mahar gets a good entry into the corner. Here comes Shoemaker back through the center and out the exit. Neither of them have their push up to their rear bumper yet. Brackett trying to get to the rear end of the 19.
Joseph Mahar, a big run up top of the back stretch. Wyatt Brackett slots for now into the third spot, but still in a dead heat with Mario Miranda, and everybody else starting to fall back, actually. Dakota Curtis is still up here, Curtis Kelly, Zach Wilson, and some others. But behind this top 8 or 9, you're starting to see some more separation. Some more cars falling back as we head back into turn 1.
And this is the third stage. You spent the first 2 stages learning what the car will do on old tires and figuring out those drivers around you and what lane to be best in. Now it's time to put all those things to the test. This third stage, now there's still a pit stop looming for these drivers. But for the most part, this is it. You're making your bed to see where you will be at the end of lap 163. And these boys duking out. Miranda to the point on the inside lane. He has the 42 of Hurley in tow, trying to get clear of the 4 Shoemaker, but here comes a great run out of turn 2 for Shoemaker.
Roaring down the backstretch into turn number 3. Shoemaker up top. Now, Austin Shoemaker has a win here at Atlanta in the MPI Cup Series, but Chris Shoemaker does not. Can Chris go to victory lane this evening? Car 4 is looking good.
And we just restarted this race. We just started the third stage. We already see a huge bobble out of the 42 Kevin Hurley. And you're just looking at these drivers continue to struggle for grip. These cars are not handling as easy as it seems on the screen. Track temp 131 degrees. This bad boy cooked up another 16, 17 degrees. And boy, Hot Lana, she is hot.
Down the front stretch through the quad oval here at Hampton, Georgia. Lap 89 gives way to 90. And still engrossed in a battle side by side through your top 5 rows, your entire top 10 side by side, 175 mile an hour formation laps at the 1.5 mile now super speedway here at Atlanta.
And everybody, for what they are starting to calm down a little bit. The lanes are starting to stagnate, and actually the field is starting to go into the favor of Mario Miranda across the start-finish line there. Shoemaker still fighting valiantly on the outside lane, but he has lost some steam on that outside lane. Only 4 cars up there. You watch the rest of you come by here to turn 1, and now we start to really bunch up here. Miranda clears up high, and huge packing up here, 3 wide in the middle of the pack.
Wilson looks down to the bottom, side by side with Kunkel. Contact as they're both to the inside of Curtis Kelly, 3 wide through turns 3 and 4. They settle it back out. There's your entire top pack as they work down the front stretch. Joseph Mahar somehow still in this race, Emerson. Honestly, not a player that I would have expected in this battle at this moment after that contact with Daniel Holdcroft, but he's still in it as he follows Chris Shoemaker around the top side, bobbles there on the bottom, and they've got to run up top. They have to slow that run. Oh boy, this is fun. Super Speedway racing. This is the stuff that you always want to see at Daytona, Talladega. We're getting it here at Atlanta.
Absolutely. You think of how tight these corners are. It's almost a similar width of Daytona, and you kind of get all that action to condense in one area, and it really is. It's awesome. It's very intriguing to see what these drivers are able to do, holding so much room. Turn up off the corner, watching Kevin Hurley go round the outside.
Right up to the race lead.
Race lead, a huge run as Mario Miranda finds the sucker hole.
We haven't seen it much today, but now Chris Shoemaker up into the wall, I think was trying to give room to Miranda and puts himself in that green safer barrier. Gets a hold on it now, but Wyatt Brackett stacks up 3 wide there with Mahar, who drops out of the top 10. Oh boy, a whole lot changed quickly, and look at that. At the bottom side of this of these first couple of corners, it is the rookie, car 81 in this championship fight. Steven Stempian has checked in Atlanta.
It's awesome. Stage 3 comes around, and we get a whole new outlook here in the top 10. Kevin Hurley, Lost Peel, Zach Wilson, the top 3. You saw Steven Stempian trying to work his way inside the top 10 there in 11th. Things are starting to ramp up here at Atlanta, and we still have a lot of racing to go.
Zach Wilson all over the place in that front stretch. He was bobbling around a little bit out of turn 4 as well. That car is evil, and it's starting to get away from him. The Battle Beaver 51. Oh boy, he's battling the steering wheel in that car. Chris Shoemaker side by side with Curtis Kelly. Shoemaker trying the bottom, gets shuffled out of line.
And I was going to say earlier, when Miranda went up to the outside lane and cleared to the race lead, and he picked up Shoemaker, I thought that was what Shoemaker was going to need. He was going to need Miranda to start leading that outside lane around, keep himself glued to the rear end of the 99, and how the tables have turned. Shoemaker gets shuffled out to the top 10, and Miranda now on the bottom side of the racetrack all by himself. Here comes Lawson Peel.
To the race lead goes Lawson Peel, but can he clear back up? I think he will out of turn 4. And it's side by side now for the second position. You have got cars 42 and 29 battling. Curtis Kelly, a big run down low. Here comes Kunkel. There goes Hurley on back. Another position as he loses a position to Dakota Curtis. Maybe not. The 1 car. Well, thankfully, he didn't slide up as far as the real 1 car today, but he still slid up the racetrack, Emerson.
Oh boy, everybody goes ahead and clears on up. It's still Mario Miranda now heading to charge on the inside lane. He's got Chris Shoemaker and Judd Danielson trying to make something out of nothing down there. The top 4 clear back down, give a draft to the inside, and Miranda sideways coming out of 4.
This top pack is actually one of the smaller groups in the racetrack. You can see further back a longer line of cars in that second grouping, about 5 seconds off of the race leaders. Then there's more cars way further back in this field, about 7-8 seconds back. So a long line of cars back there just biding their time getting through this race. We still have 65 laps to go in this race, so we still have, and that's when we come back to the start finish line. 66 this lap, coming to 65 to go. So a long time yet to race, and definitely a set of green flag pit stops in there if we make it that far. 3 wide for second, we might not.
Kelly bobbled out of 4. Everybody split them. They said, we're not going to wait for you. We're going to dispose of you. We're in the 3rd stage, baby. Got to go. And it's Zach Wilson to the inside, Brackett on the outside. He actually falls back behind the plane line. He'll catch him, and they'll try to line up and get her going again. Curtis now leads the inside lane.
Lawson Peel leading. That's James Kunkel, Kevin Hurley. The slow car is Justin Hendry up there in the number 11 Toyota Camry. The leaders work on by, and here we go. A move from car 3 at Atlanta.
Kunkel to the inside, and he was fast in practice, looking to see if he can replicate some practice speed to the race here. I know you don't look too much at practice times, but it does mean something. It means you know how to draft
there
around.
There goes Hurley.
Here comes Kevin Hurley, though, to the inside. Lost move, trying to reclaim the race lead.
Racetrack, he tried to push it.
Those tires aren't agreeing with him. Here comes Mario Miranda.
Whoa, bobbling all over the racetrack as the entire field 3-4 wide across the stripe as we move on. Well, we move on past lap 100. 100 complete, 63 to go.
Now the top 4, nearly top 5, clear by themselves on the outside lane. Miranda has all the opportunity in the world to step out of line and pass that 53, but he'll just push him down the back straightaway, and now it's going to become an outside lane dominant lead pack.
Kevin Hurley falls into the 6th position. one of the newer drivers to this field after taking a bit of a leave of absence for a while, brings himself back into this league and is doing so in a fiery and competitive way. Wyatt Brackett looks to the inside of Curtis Kelly. That would be for third if he can stick his nose down there. He took a peek into 1 and 2 Emerson, but he's having to bide his time. We see this a lot at Talladega now with the way this track, well, this pack, I guess, racing has changed with this new Gen 7 car. I'm surprised we're seeing this single file line, but also, you know what, this looks a lot closer to the March racing here for NASCAR that we saw, where these guys were through the middle of the racetrack, single file, 2 wide, and trying to fight for that one dominant line. This looks a lot more like March, as here comes Zach Wilson to the inside, nearly contact there with the 10.
Zach Wilson on the bottom side.
Oh, he hits Kunkel. He's going to hit Hendry. He's going to hit Schoonover. Parker Bland is in it, crashing in turn 2.
No. And we got another pack coming here, guys. Oh, man.
Joe Sanchez destroyed.
That car is absolutely obliterated.
Wow. Unfortunate stuff there. Not sure what started it for Zach Wilson, but it ended in a hurry.
I don't know if he got loose or got clipped, but he got sent down to the apron
Thinking there
entering
must have
turn
been
1.
contact here. Watch this with the 51 and the 10. Zach Wilson, the 51. He goes down to the inside, and yeah, Brackett comes down a hair. And Wilson's just trying to hang on. Straight lines back up into Kunkel, down into Hendry. Oh, man, misses Mahar, gets Schoonover. Bland is trying to miss it, nails the 2. Or the turn 2 wall, anyway. And, Joe Sanchez, wrong place, wrong time.
He saw them wrecking in 2. He decided to go to the inside, but unfortunately, in a banked track, the wrecked race cars, they always come down.
Let's ride on board here with car 51.
You see, Sanchez was one of those, Wilson was one of those who was a believer in 4th gear. You start to redline in there, but the temperature doesn't come up. Unfortunately, I tried to make a move on Brackett, maybe a little too soon, or Brackett didn't anticipate it.
Oh, man.
Wow.
And somewhere back here comes Joe Sanchez.
They're wrecking.
Wow.
That's hard. I mean, he was carrying so much speed.
And he hit a ton.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, really the only way he was going to be able to avoid the wreck on that side of the racetrack was to roll it down even more, which I don't know if that was an option.
Let's look at Parker Bland through all of this. Oh, it's already starting to happen, so we might have to back it up a little further. Just trying to mind his own business and get swept up in this one.
That stayed on.
And, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The right front.
Right front tire. Knocked the engine out of it, the radiator. Big hit for Parker Bland. And that's what we're starting to notice a lot. The biggest hits of the day, Andrew, are honestly the ones that are victimless. Or, I'm sorry, that are victims
That's
of
how
the
this super speedway racing goes.
Right.
Here's the onboard for Bland as it gets started, and we'll switch up to a TV camera for a big hit. You see Wilson way down there, and at this point, yeah, you know something's going wrong. He's trying to back it down, trying. It gets started, he goes low, gets it to Schoonover, locks it down, and just that transition down the banking gets that car out of hand, and that is a big hit.
You know, Andrew, we said that they narrowed the track. Well, that first line of the apron, or that first lane of the apron is still banked at, what it used to be.
18 degrees, they said,
right.
Or 16. It's some pretty steep banking compared to most aprons. You're right.
And that's huge. And these flat bottom cars, that was going to do it no favors.
Mario Miranda went second in stage number 2 as Brackett picked up another stage win. We didn't get a chance to chat with him at the end of stage 2, so Mario Miranda, that 99 car is looking good. Obviously, this Atlanta Motor Speedway, it's different. It's a lot more like Daytona, Talladega. How are you approaching it?
What, this track? I don't know. Mile and a half, really. I was trying to tell other drivers to arc the corners, and that would give us the fastest lap times and, save our tires. And, we're starting to get that. Stage 1, we're all hugging the bottom, but I'm glad that we're all fixed now.
You guys moving around trying to find a lane. That run was starting to look a little more like the March race here for NASCAR. You guys are all back on 4 tires now. Can you go to the end? First question. Second question, are you fighting for a middle lane, or what lane is best?
Yes, I can't go to the end, and honestly, if you're by yourself, all single file, you want to go all the way down to the bottom and arc it like you were racing a mile and a half, and that seems to be the best option.
Does it feel kind of like a conversion maybe of Charlotte and Daytona all in one?
Honestly, it feels very weird. It's very weird to race, and it's almost like a new mindset of racing. But yeah, you can put it that way.
So you go, Mario Miranda second in stage 2. One of the best cars on track as per usual, and your new points leader. Mario, best of luck to you here in stage 3.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Car 99, always one of the big threats to win here in the MPI Cup Series. Let's come down to the restart and get this race back underway. Emerson, lap 106 of 163 will become 107 of 163. 55 or so laps to go, and they are good to the end. Per Mario Miranda, green flag is back out at Atlanta. Nose to tail, pushing, are the 53, 99, and even the 10. Through turns 3 and 4, your top 3 scooting away here, Emerson. 1 lap complete from the restart.
And you're starting to notice, at least so far on this restart, most of the drivers in this field. And here comes Miranda shooting down to the inside.
Big move there in the center of 1 and 2. Gets down to the bottom. As he mentioned, you'll want to fight to get right on that white and red, almost a yellow line, white and red line at the bottom of the racetrack. That's your out-of-bounds zone as well. We haven't talked much about it, Emerson, but we'll get a good view here out of turn 4 and on the front stretch. That white and red line, that's your out-of-bounds marker. It's just like Daytona Talladega where you have the double yellow line like you do on a normal road. That line means you cannot cross, you cannot advance your position on the other side of that line, below that line. So it's just like on a back road where you see that double yellow line, you can't pass across it. Same as Daytona Talladega, you cannot pass the other side of that line. You've got to do it on the racetrack, and there goes Stempian. A big bobble on the outside of the racetrack.
We're starting to really see all of our, big championship threats start to poke their nose into it. We've seen Miranda up here, obviously. Austin Peele has started to become a factor as of late, and Steven Stempian, the most recent one to join the fray here at the front of the field. It really is the best of the best coming out to play here in this third stage after those final pit stops now. And I want to say something, right? When Miranda made his overtake to the inside, or made his move to the inside to overtake Austin Peele, Peele's only way to defend that before Miranda got any help on that inside lane was to side draft him. You saw how strong it was. Before anybody got to Miranda's bumper, Peele was able to hold station. Here comes Peele to the inside of Brackett.
Lawson Peele, a big move, and he's going to go past Brackett, going to go past Miranda as they battle through 1 and 2. Oh, that 99 bobbled. It sure did. The Toyota Camry with BRM on the hood and sides. It had a bit of a slide, but it gets back after it side by side, nose to nose, I guess, door to door. Down to turn number 3. It's Peele and Miranda, 2 of the best drivers in this series. Throw in Stempian right behind him. You've got the entire top 3 in points. Oh, this is going to be fun. The only driver in the top 5 of points that is not in the top 4 right now is Joe Sanchez, who is a part of that most recent crash and is out of the race in 31st position.
Continue on, double wide, all the way down through this lead pack. Miranda with the advantage entering 3, but Peele trying to make something happen on that bottom side. Miranda giving plenty of room. Still side by side for that race lead. Stempian trying to get something going down that inside lane, but his Brackett, a huge push to Miranda. They'll start getting a lot of momentum here through the quad oval.
Side by side, 4 rows deep. 50 laps to go this next time by. If this race somehow goes green, ladies and gents, they do not have to pit. Those are going to be some real old tires at the end of the day. They've got a set of tires in the bank at least. They should anyways. They should have 2, maybe 3 tire stops in so far with 1, maybe 2 more sets to go. So we should be able to see them come back in for freshies if they need them, if they get the opportunity. But if this race goes green, we shouldn't see them come in.
That's right, and that's going to award those drivers with the best tire saving. And start to think about those drivers who aren't necessarily up here in the lead pack. In the second pack, if they're not really fighting for position back there, and they're just running their race, they're able to save some tires. And if these boys still go at it side by side, there's going to be a huge advantage. A big bobble for Miranda, side by side to the quad oval, still the 99 at stripe.
And that was a big run from Stempian as well, getting right to the back end of Lawson Peele. Now Lawson pulls back ahead in 1 and 2 as Stempian gives him some room, backs off, is going to get another big run here, drafting back up to the back end of the 53. There goes Brackett, pushing Miranda. A push there, a big push there from Stempian on the back end of Peele's car.
Making sure Lawson Peel's running the right fuel cell back there. That's for sure.
Checking that
Side-
inspection sticker.
Yep. Oh man, the Stempian, it shows how hungry he is. Even though there's a couple cars on this inside lane behind him, but it really is only these two, and they're still keeping up with the big behemoth that is that outside lane. Oh,
Whoa.
near contact for the lead.
Well, leaders are bobbling, mostly Mario Miranda, and we saw this earlier, Emerson. Think back to the first incident of the night. Kip Easley, loose on the outside of 2, backs up Kevin Hurley into, was it Joseph Mahar that went for the spin, somehow had no contact. Easley's back in this top 10 now. Mahar's back in this top running order. And, well, the tires are wearing down. You're starting to see that top side go away a little bit as far as handling goes. But it looks like if you take care of your tires, you can hang on to that top side late in a run. We'll see how things change. As bracket maybe a little bobble, but it looks like it's okay. As Miranda now playing Pied Piper in front of the field.
And Peel to the outside. If he can get to that right rear quarter panel, that he does. And Peel's going to get a great run. He leans on Mario Miranda. And to the race lead goes the 53. That's all you need to do. And we saw it today in the Cup race. If you get to the right rear, that's it. Goodbye. That's the pass.
Good moves there from your top 2 and 3. Miranda now, though, in the 3rd spot. Chris Shoemaker back in this top 5. Judd Danielson in the K-List Synthetics, number 85.
And Danielson, he picked up 1 stage point there at the end of stage 2. He's kept himself relevant up inside this top 10 and is fighting for some good positioning here towards the end of this race. Don't count him out of a chance if things start to go awry with these front drivers.
Was side by side for a moment, now on his own. Right in the middle of this top 10 grouping, you can see side by side for 3rd is Chris Shoemaker with Mario Miranda. A red Ford Mustang now falling back at the bottom side is the 4 car. Steven Stempian looking for a way by. Moves up in front of Kip Easley, will move into the top side and should take over the 6th position. Yes, he will move car 81 up 1 position. While these guys sort out for a moment, and really only a moment, let's check out these guys further deep in the field. Ray Rogers, Brad Fulham, Daniel Michel, Sean Kalist on the lead lap. Kalist back here with, you see Michel. You see Bill Schoonover, who is 6 laps down. Joe Sanchez back on track. He's literally exiting the pit lane right now, Emerson. You can see how damaged that number 55 is. But other cars to talk about, Travis Stevens, Cody Kinsey, all of these guys mired way back in the field. At this point, they're praying for a yellow. If you stay back here for too long, Emerson, eventually this strategy is going to work against you in this second and tertiary group. You've got to get moving forward.
Yeah, because, of course, the leaders are coming, and
that said, I think these guys are. This is not where Justin Winters, Warren Kyle Keith, Alex Muscarella, they're not far back at that top 10. They got racy, and these guys are starting to run those fast lap times. You can see that gap is coming down from Muscarella to the red number, what is that, Curtis Kelly? No, Kevin Hurley in 11th.
And I have to wonder, Andrew, are those tires up in that lead pack worn out to the point where these guys might be able to make some easy work of these lead pack drivers? From what it looks like, that entire second pack is single file. It looks like they've been single file. This lead pack just got single file. So if there's still some rubber on that second pack of cars, this could get really interesting.
And this top group is still not completely single file. You've got, let's see, that's Easley and Mahar racing side by side. Mahar on the bottom side, Easley up top, and Mahar will finally have to give way as Kevin Hurley sinks down to the bottom, gets that draft. Mahar pops back up behind the 29 of Curtis Kelly. And now, here we go. Alex Muscarella has definitely caught. This is now a 22-car line.
Wow. And I'm sure the intensity is going to pick up, especially with drivers who just caught this lead pack. They're going to ultimately feel, if they save their tires, here comes Muscarella already to the bottom side. It's happening.
Look at this long line of cars. Muscarella making that move on the bottom side of the front stretch of the quad oval as we head down into turn 1. Muscarella on the bottom behind Joseph Mahar, Chris Shoemaker, and more.
And again, Shoemaker on the cut line coming into today's race. He needs desperately a great run today if he's going to continue to work on his playoff chances. He cannot get freight trained by the second pack that's now joined this big lead group as it is. Shoemaker needs to stay up here in the top 10 at least.
Like I said earlier, Emerson, Austin Shoemaker has a win here at Atlanta. Granted, that was the old Atlanta. Shoemaker not in this race today, but you have to wonder if maybe he was any help to this 4-car. Any help, any piece of advice maybe to Chris, just trying to help him out get through this race. They work together in the plate races usually, in the super speedway races at Daytona, Talladega. Austin and Chris are always near each other in some regard, but today, Chris flying on his own, just trying to get himself a race win, or at least however many points he can grab. I believe got some stage points throughout the afternoon, and is in a good position to potentially finish pretty well overall.
Absolutely, and he's side by side right now with that 42 car, Kevin Hurley. He actually makes a huge run up the inside now.
Whoa.
But I just wanted to say, Kevin Hurley knows what he's doing. I got into an NIS split with him earlier this week, and him and I worked really well. We were able to hold the top 2 for a good majority of that race. So Kevin Hurley can get up there. He can work the draft a little bit.
No longer single file up in the front of this race. Moving around, trying to find positions in this middle part of the front pack. Curtis Kelly on the top side. Here comes Kip Easley down low of Steven Stempian. The championship leaders are getting in a line and riding around, but Emerson, desperation is starting to set in. This is one of the final good opportunities on the schedule. We haven't talked much about the schedule yet tonight, but this gives us an opportunity to do so quickly. Let's bring the ticker down. Let's pull the schedule up, Emerson. Atlanta Motor Speedway comes in at race 18. New Hampshire's next week. Then Pocono, Indianapolis, Michigan. Michigan feels like a decent wildcard opportunity, and Daytona. Otherwise, you've got to rely on some big-time driver skill. A lot of driver races left in this regular season of New Hampshire, Pocono, Indianapolis, and Richmond, of course, and of course, as well, Watkins Glen. Driver tracks the rest of the way through, aside from here, Michigan and Daytona. I'm not saying these aren't necessarily driver tracks. I'm not saying skill doesn't matter here, but it's definitely more of a wild card opportunity for these guys at these 3 tracks of Atlanta, Michigan, and Daytona, especially Atlanta and Daytona. So you've got to capitalize here. If you're not already up in the front of the points, if you don't already have a win, this is your first good opportunity of your last opportunities of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to, if you need a wild card to make it into the playoffs, you don't want to put all your chips on the table at Daytona. You want to make it in the sooner the better. I also want to say Steven Stempian, he's a lot lower than where he was running. He's down to 9th. He just got shuffled out of line and got sent 3 wide in a big bobble last time around for Stempian, trying to hold on to what he's got in that 81 machine.
There's Steven Stempian of the number 81 Chevrolet. As he works now to the 8th position, working on the bottom side of Curtis Kelly. Let's go on board of them here. You see Dakota Curtis on the top side, easily backs up out of the corner. As this run goes on, Emerson, you were right. The top side gets so much better. You're able to carry that momentum. We see that time and time again, not just on intermediates. Easily goes up and uses Judd Danielson for some cornering ability. That was interesting.
And that's unfortunately, that's going to be more or less what we see as this run goes on.
Taking out the Ross Chastain.
Right. But for real, it's really hard to hold that inside lane on these worn out tires. There is not that much grip on that right front tire, and the car's just gonna start walking up the track.
3 wide here, I think, into the corner for a moment. We're on board with Curtis Kelly in car 29. He got the wall a lap ago. Much cleaner run through the corner that time, and easily now starting to fall back. You see a dinged up left or right side of that car after the contact. I believe that was with Judd Danielson in the 85, and yes, it was. And that bottom side just surges ahead in the corners. It makes it formidable. There we go, Curtis Kelly. Oh, he went 3 with Dakota Curtis and Steven Stempian. That is desperate.
Stempian pops up, and it's now, is that Warren Kyle Keefe and Alex Muscarella working some magic down the inside.
Side by side from the 5th position on back. Dakota Curtis, the first car having to deal with issues from others as Warren Kyle Keith slides in. See Alex Muscarella, Justin Erb, the first time I think we've said his name today aside from the starting grid. Let's go on board with the number 24. Whoa, pulls right up to Muscarella, who thought about going to the top side for a moment, but it looks like Warren Kyle Keith, Alex Muscarella, Justin Erb, some friends out there trying to work together on the bottom side, teammates as well. It's just so tough to get that bottom going. This is not Daytona. It's not built the same way. Oh, there we go, crashing. Justin Erb, or not Justin Erb, Kip Easley and more.
I was just about to say.
And Chris Shoemaker.
Oh, no, Shoemaker. Oh, that car is destroyed.
The nose of that car has definitely seen better days. Kip easily destroyed. Yep, he's out of this race.
I didn't know those front ends could get punched in that deep.
Justin Winters taken out.
Oh, man. I was just about to say, that inside lane started to really consist of drivers who came from that second pack that caught the lead pack, except for Kip Easley. I felt like Easley was holding up the entire inside lane. And
he gets hooked by the 22.
Oh.
Wow.
That's what happened. Yep. Wow.
Warren just got up on his right rear and did not get off.
For what it's worth, still a great job from the rest of the field to keep that a relatively small incident.
Let's watch it here from the tower. You'll see the 27 get hooked by the 22 into turn 1. Yeah, I can't even say easily came up. Warren just came down. I don't think he realized the overlap there. And smashes into a few cars. Thankfully, Kinsey gets mowed down, but Shoemaker, Easley, Mahar, and Winters get completely smashed up in that turn 1 accident.
That's the third incident today Joseph Mahar's been in.
Just the view from Warren Kyle Keith's on board just hooks him. Not intentional, but he hooked him.
Oh! He almost got hooked by Mahar on the way down.
Thankfully didn't, but yeah, this is going to be a tough one for a lot of drivers to swallow. Let's get one more good look at things, especially with Joseph Mahar getting through this accident for the most part. I think he gets a pretty good hit, Emerson. I don't think that car is going to be quite as it was, but at least...
There'll be some optional.
Yeah, he'll at least get through the crash, though, which is pretty good.
I just can't believe this is his third incident of the day, and he still looks okay.
He gets hit hard. The 88 gets swept up in this, of course, of Justin Winters. Thankfully, everybody else able to avoid, but yeah, Justin is destroyed in the 88. He's done. Wow, that left rear's not even spinning.
Wow, yeah. Man. It's not actually that often you see the rear tire break with this damage model in iRacing. I saw Max Service break one of the Outlaws race at Eldora, but that's because he slammed the wall down that many times that night. But other than that rear tire usually doesn't break the way you run these cars at iRacing. It's just crazy how big of a hit he took. And there's Mahar leaving the pit lane. He did have to wait. You know, I think there's still some optional in that 19, but he's trying.
Warren Kyle Keith is available for comment. I don't know if he's necessarily going to want to, but let's quickly dial up driver of the 22. And this should be an interesting one. Warren, that was a bit of a crash. Thankfully, your car is not damaged. What happened there from your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, we had so much better tires. I didn't mean to skid Kip, you know. We were struggling on the straightaways, you know. He was I don't know. I'm getting pushed from behind as hard as they were, and I just clipped the quarter panel trying to get off them. But, yeah, I feel bad because, you know, it took out Winters, but also took out Kip and a couple of good drivers just because, you know, I was trying to push them, but I don't know. It's just the product of racing here. Took a good mile and a half and made it into this.
Well, Warren, best of luck to you. You're going to restart 7th, it looks like. Still around a bunch of your teammates. Best of luck to you as we run to the end here.
Thank you, guys.
Warren Kyle Keith going to restart, like I said, in 7th at the bottom of the racetrack. And has a pretty good opportunity still to make up a lot of positions. So that's his side. Maybe we'll get a chance to speak with Kip Easley in a little bit about his side of things before this day is done. Easley out of the race, likely for the remainder. As we come down to the Geico restart zone, we'll get one more opportunity at the very least to get this race back underway. Lawson, Peel in control. Wyatt Brackett second. Everybody came down the pit lane. Peel was the first one out. Green flag, lap 183. 138. Into turn 3 off the restart. As these guys jostle, jump around for position, beat and bang a little bit even, push and find their positions off of this restart. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're pulling for, as we're nearly to 20 laps to go. 1 lap complete from the restart.
Big move for Warren Kyle Keefe. He went to the outside of Stempian, and Stempian finds himself in the middle of the pack with not much help. He'll have to find his way back up to that outside behind the 85, but move the 22 up to third. Mario Miranda is getting dished out. He's getting sent backwards, and it's now Miranda looking down to 6th position, 7th, and continuing to drop. No help for him on that inside lane.
Oh, he tries to squeeze up in front of Dakota Curtis, but the 1 says no to the 99, and Dakota Curtis moves on past that car. Justin Erb falls back a little bit. Oh, Dustin Reeves, a big move to the inside. He takes a shot to the inside of the 99, as it looks like Curtis Kelly goes down to the bottom as well. Big moves all around.
Curtis Kelly trying to find his way back in line, but you start to see this line start to really get singled out pretty quickly here with 23 laps to go. I can't imagine they'll keep it like this for much longer, but what I do know is most of the drivers we've seen in 2nd and 3rd packs all day today, I don't feel like they're going to be falling off this lead pack in this potential final run.
This guy is on a mission. He's running an all-black Ford Mustang. Do we know the reason? Well, not quite. What he says is he just wants to go prove himself. Wants to go prove the haters wrong, basically, and show that he is here to play. And he is definitely here to play. Yes, admittedly, he just did play a big part in that accident with Kip Easley, but he is fast. He's moving his way through this field. Warren Kyle Keefe 3rd place, and keeps bobbing around, looking for a way maybe buy that 10 car and to go up there and play with the race lead.
He set himself up here in 3rd, but as the inside lane died out, I feel like his want to dive down to that inside lane, while it's still there, I think he's thinking better of it. There's no way he can dive down there and keep himself afloat on that inside lane with a very minimal inside lane. Here comes Ray Rogers in the 18 trying to make something happen here in the middle of the pack, and they're trying to work to the inside of Kalis there in the 43. We saw him. He had a great position on one of the restarts up there, I believe, to start of stage 2. He was in 3rd and did not go on that restart. So glad to see Kalis is still up and running there in 13th.
I see some chat about who won last season. Well, your most recent winners here at Atlanta, they include John Kinder, Austin Shoemaker, and Joe Sanchez. John Kinder won back in Season 3. Austin Shoemaker won in Season 4, both in Gen 6 cars on the old Atlanta. Earlier this season, it was Joe Sanchez leading 69 laps en route to victory after starting 8th. And that was, of course, on the old Atlanta service. Now we're on this brand new Atlanta Motor Speedway, but still in these Gen 7 cars. That's your quick history and rundown of who's won recently at Atlanta in the MPI Cup Series. 20 laps to go that last time by the start-finish line. And, well, the top 10 is about single file, sure. But here we go. The battle for the back. Daniel Michel, Sean Kalis, Alex Buscarella, Ray Rogers. They're fighting it out.
Muscarella desperately wants to get to that inside lane because he wants to lead it, and he's got a huge run there. You're right, 3 wide. Kalis sent to the middle, a huge kick on the outside lane. Here comes his inside lane, roaring to life, being led by Daniel Michel.
Chris Shoemaker, a big run. Looks like the nose of that car is okay again. Michel moving past more cars. Now down to the inside of the 68, and he's got some draft help ahead of him. Mario Miranda back down to the bottom, trying to make something happen. Pulls back ahead of the 1 car. And here we go. He gets put 3 wide. Oh, that could be on the edge for Michel. If Race Control was watching that, that could be a penalty. He's flirting with that white and red line.
Meanwhile,
there we go, a big run.
And a huge check up in the middle lane. Miranda scatters to the outside. Danielson
Step in the sucker hole. Contact. Miranda comes down into Danielson. That's going to be a big one. Caution will fly. Shoemaker.
Wow.
Somehow, almost nobody was in that. There was no real crash.
No, didn't wreck. No way.
Wow.
All we're doing is stacking his heel back up, and we're going to let him rip again, right?
Have you ever?
Man, no, I've never.
I don't think I've ever. And oh, some contact maybe there. What in the world? Mario Miranda comes down the racetrack, makes contact with the 85. Let's go back and get a look at it. And somehow, they keep it moving.
This is the example.
The crazy train ain't stopping here. Nobody's getting off.
Yeah, nobody got off. A huge stack up in the middle. Miranda darts up high. He thought he's cleared the 85, or at least had a hole, and
man.
didn't.
But somehow these, oh my goodness, and Steven Stempian gets through. Now, admittedly, Judd did body Chris Shoemaker trying to save it. I think that's why he saved that car, but, wow. What in the world? I don't think I have ever.
What this does, Andrew, it leaves still a great amount of cars left running in the waning laps of this race.
I don't know what happened to Judd there, but it backs up the 81 of Stempian as well, and Steven just drops in that sucker hole. Mario just came down, thought he was clear, and wasn't. That is one heck of a view of that save. Wow.
I can't believe it. That is amazing.
Let's watch this one more time. Danielson goes from battling for third right here with Warren Kyle Keith to just sinking like a rock. And Miranda gets out of the sucker hole just in time to drop down there. I think Judd lifted there. And somehow, in all of this craziness, nobody crashes. The 81 gets on through like, I mean, that's as, I think there was contact potentially with Progar and Schoonover behind him. Wow.
I think he got loose out of two, right? And he started to walk the car up the track. He lifted to try to get the car to stabilize, but Stempian was there, and they both started dropping like a rock in the middle lane, and that kind of started it all off.
Well,
but nonetheless,
we've seen save from several angles. Let's go ahead and bring in the driver of the 85, Judd Danielson, after that one.
And Judd Danielson, my goodness, what a job to keep that vehicle going in the correct direction. Judd, what happened there off of two?
I think it was just Mario. He already wrote me, apologized, so it is what it is. It told him it was clear, he wasn't clear, and I don't know, my whole world just got tipped upside down.
How did you save that and not really collect anybody else?
I mean, you use your brakes a little bit, kind of drive through the throttle and use your brakes. I mean, the dirt track stuff works, but I mean, I'm on a motion rig, so I'm feeling all this stuff, and it sometimes doesn't feel so good, man. You smack these walls. So yeah, it's been a fun race. Shouldn't be up there. I know better, but the car was good, so let's go race.
Indeed, let's go race. In the waning laps here, Judd, best of luck to you, driver. Hopefully we're talking to you a little more later on.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
I love that outlook on things from Judd Danielson. We'll let him get back down to it with his teammate in the 43 car of Sean Kalis. You can see Kalis Synthetics adorning the sides of that number 85 Ford Mustang, but a great way to look at things, look at life in general, I suppose, or at least sim racing life in general. Wow. I still can't believe that we didn't wad cars up there in 3 and 4. We just kind of moved them around a little bit, gave a couple of them damage, and said, let's go back at it again. And with that in mind, it looks like the caution has been extended 1 lap, Emerson. How about we dial up driver of the 80... Well, do we go with the 81, or do we go with maybe... Let's see, who was close in that? Let's just go ahead and get Steven. We'll get Stempian on top. Steven Stempian out of New Hampshire, as we've learned. Steven, that was a rather close call. A whole lot going on all at once. What did you see from all of that?
Chaos. I just got shuffled. I made a bad move to dip to the bottom. I thought we were going to get a better run than we did, and I just got shuffled in the middle, and then just saw that wreck in front of me, and man, I've been being patient this whole race. I was about to let this whole night go to waste. I'm getting into somebody else's mess, so.
A little over 10 laps to go here. You're in a prime opportunity, 10th place. I know there's still some work to do, but as far as this track and the challenges at hand, put it, I guess, as quickly as you can into words for those that are watching at home.
Absolute mayhem ever since I got up here after that last stage. It's been chaotic. It's been fun. I like it a little bit more spread out than this tight, the tight used to Dagger and Daytona, but it's been fun. It's been a good night.
Well, you won Talladega, so it's at least got to have some good vibes going on in the 81 camp as we come back down to a restart. Buddy, best of luck to you. Looks like, 13 laps to go? We'll be talking to you soon.
Sounds good, buddy. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest.
Steven Stempian going to restart from the 10th spot as we get ready to restart this race one more time. Down to the Geico restart zone. 13 laps to go. Lawson, Peel, Wyatt Brackett, your front row. Green flag is out once more at Atlanta. A good restart from Peel. Warren Kyle Keith going backwards in a hurry off the restart up into 5th gear. He's into the 5th position as well as Miranda drops down to the bottom side of 3 and 4 to the inside of Dakota Curtis.
Everybody packed up. I saw Brackett and Warren Kyle Keith really going at it in the 1 and 2. It's Brackett who ended up coming out on top of that battle. Brackett looking to the inside of Peel. Can't get down there. That really chops the air off of Mario Miranda's nose. Here comes Brackett to the inside.
Car 10, one stages 1 and 2, and here he comes back into the race lead as Hurley makes a crazy move in the midfield for the 8th position. Gets ahead of Ryan Kendall, our pole sitter from earlier today. Brackett on the bottom side, Peel up top, side by side across the line.
Now everybody's lined up nose to tail, and this is where one stack of this could be a big one waiting in.
Oh!
Very tight up out of 2 was Wyatt Brackett walking the car up the track, and it's Peel now trying to clear back to the race lead. He's clear of the whole field.
How about Dakota Curtis in all of this? He could really use a race win. He is on the cut line. What, 1 point, 2 points ahead of it? He needs this one for his number 1 Sunoco Racing Fuel Toyota Camry. 10 laps to go at Atlanta.
And Brackett, he is laying
big
on
check
that
of a crash. Dustin Reeves in it. We're going to stay green. Maybe there. Yeah, there we go. Caution flag.
Oh, baby.
There's Dustin Reeves. Cody Kinsey also sideways. 2 of my favorite cars in the field just because they're purple and they're both in this crash.
And that right front does not look healthy on the 93.
Reeves looks okay.
Reeves looks fine. Kinsey,
Yeah.
not so much.
That's not going to do it.
I can't believe how punched up this field was. And we get an accident, it's only 2 cars.
Let's go a ways back and get a look at this. From overhead, Cody Kinsey. I think it's going to start ahead for Dustin Reeves. And yes, it looks like it will. Brandon Banks around him, Sean Kalis, Justin Erb, Chris Progar, Travis Stevens in the picture. It's going to be the next lap around. This will be a really good opportunity to see just how this starts. You see those guys side by side battling aggressively ahead. Oh, a stack up there, Ray Rogers.
It's crazy how much aggression there is at this part of the pack. And you saw how big, how much of a bump Banks wanted to give to Stevens there.
Oh, right there.
Oh, no, and gets hit from behind. I guess Reeves was backing out of it. Nobody else was.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the race, I think you've got to expect to lift a little. Everybody's on top of each other. Things are going to be different into the corner than you might expect. You've got to expect to lift, and I don't think Justin Erb and Daniel Michel really expected that. Especially this far back, I would think they would be able to lay further back. I mean, you can see the whole pack in one picture here, but really odd that they ran into each other at a turn 1 like this. Reeves checks up, I think, just trying to keep space to Stevens, gets hit by Erb, and I think Michel was pushing him into that. It's just, that's aggression. That's 10 laps to go.
Right, and I'm glad you said that. I was going to say, unless he just did it precautionary, it really didn't seem like there was a reason to check up there, but you're right, maybe just keeping the space to Stevens.
It is 10 laps to go, but you have to finish those 10 laps, right? You can't run in the back of somebody like they unfortunately just did. So, yeah, you've got to give some space if you're Reeves. And we see that. I mean, you know, Emerson, you've got to modulate the throttle. He was just trying to hold the gap to Stevens, and he ran in the back of it.
For what it's worth, but both the 24 and the 25 were on top of each other as well.
Yeah, they all were just stacking up into that corner. I think Michel wanted to keep going, and Erb was getting pushed into the corner a little bit, and you know, he's trying to manage getting pushed and not really trying not to run in the back of somebody. And you know, when you're a couple cars back like Michel was, it's tough to see as well exactly what's going on. But we should get the 1 to green signal this time, I think. And
You're
yes.
right. And going back to that, yeah, if you don't have a live spotter, you can't see through the car in front of you through the car in front of them. I mean, it's a product of pack racing, especially as the aggression ramps up.
And I had mentioned earlier that Michel was flirting with getting a black flag for his pass under, well, on the red line. I don't believe he was penalized, but he did pit on the previous yellow to that green flag run, and that's why he was back there. I was actually looking for that myself, and Tony Kiv on Twitch mentioned it. I was also kind of curious as to why the 25 wasn't in the front during that run, and looked around, and he had pitted pretty recently. So I think that's all that was for Daniel Michel. Drivers, by the way, pitting under this yellow: Brad Fulham, Daniel Michel, Dustin Reeves, Joseph Mahar, Cody Kinsey, who looks like he's out of this race, as well, really nobody else. Bill Schoonover, Kip Easley, Joe Sanchez, Parker Bland, they're all many laps down, but in this race. Parker Bland in position 29, he's still in it. Joe Sanchez below him, Kip Easley around him, and Bill Schoonover, all of those guys with quite a bit of damage. But Emerson, we are inside of 10 laps to go. In fact, we're going to have 6 laps to go, it looks like, at the drop of the green flag. Lawson Peel on the inside, Dakota Curtis outside, then Wyatt Brackett, Alex Muscarella, Kevin Hurley, and Mario Miranda. Green flag flies once again at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The push, the shove from Muscarella, getting that one car going, pulls up to the back end of the leader of Peel. They're all moving, jostling around at turn 3.
Everybody,
oh, and they get turned. Ryan Kendall, a big crash. Brandon Banks, Justin Erb, Judd Danielson. Ryan Kendall was the car I saw it sideways. Chris Progar. I say Chris Progar or Chris Progar? It's Chris Progar, believe me. Judd Danielson in this.
Danielson destroyed, and he's going to have to tow.
Yeah.
You know what, Andrew? I think, again, we had that car spinning into the middle of the pack, and a very, very little amount of cars looked to be involved in it.
You can only do this so many times before cars start getting involved in it. This is the first, I think, well, I guess second in a row big incident that we've seen. We haven't seen as many as I would have thought, though. That's for sure. Ryan Kendall, he's on his own down the backstretch, which makes you wonder how he's crashed into turn 3, but he pulls up on the field, checks up, and Judd just runs the back of him. Sean gets a piece. They check up trying to avoid, and yeah, that looks like a classic Daytona or Talladega wreck, if I'm being honest.
It's very similar to the most recent incident. You know, the car in front checking up, gets ran over from behind. A couple other cars get involved, and
that's absolutely right.
I can't believe it looks like only 4 or 5 cars are involved in this wreck from where it happened. Look at how many cars are behind them.
So yeah, Ryan checks up, Danielson hits him, Kalis gets a big piece, and you can see Banks tried to check up as soon as he saw something going sideways, and he gets hit from behind a couple of times, and that car is destroyed. But he might be able to continue, actually.
As long as it can go straight, that's all you need, right? If it can go straight and turn left.
Let's watch from the onboard here from Brandon Banks in Carolina. Goes on by Chris Shoemaker and then gets hit by Chris Shoemaker, I believe. Yeah, right there. Oh, man. Heavy hits.
Nearly was the second car we could have seen to get some airtime tonight.
And this was the first lap off of the restart. Imagine what happens once these guys are at full song, doing a $180 into turn 3. Here's Danielson's perspective.
I think Judd is looking at this and sees there's a gap in front of the 68. It's probably not expecting him to check up there.
And he might have started checking his mirror as well. He could have been looking to the left side.
Right. And that's how quickly things happen here. You're all packed up. You're on top of one another, traveling at 175, 180 miles an hour. One other thing catches your attention, and boom, you're in an accident.
Here we go, on board with Chris Progar, already out, chatting it up on YouTube. heartbreaking way to end a race for sure. What this does do is give us an opportunity to check out MPI Cup Series Overtime on PitStop TV. And the good news, Emerson, this is going to be a natural green-white checkered. We're going to have 2 laps to go at the drop of the green flag. This will not count towards, so actually it's not overtime yet. This is not counting towards overtime. This is a natural green-white checkered if they do not complete lap 162 under green flag conditions. We re-rack them, restack them one more time, and go back after it and start extending this 250-mile race. However, if we do complete lap 162 under green flag conditions, that's it. That's the race. Whatever happens after that ends the race. Or really, these guys realistically just race back to the start-finish line. That's how these things work on iRacing. So if they take the white flag, that's it. That's the race. They will race back to the line no matter what happens. If they don't get to the white flag, we go back after it. So here we go. On the front row, it's Lawson Peel. It's Wyatt Brackett down to the Geico restart zone one more time. Can Lawson Peel hang on? Out at Lancer, green flag is out. Green, white, checkered. Muscarella looking to the outside of Curtis, waiting for now. Where does Brackett go? He goes high. Is he going to have help? Dakota Curtis says yes, maybe, but Muscarella goes down to help out Lawson Peel. No, he goes down to the inside 3 wide. Sucker hole for Lawson Peel. Your top 3 all want their first win of the season.
Side by side for a second. Muscarella trying to get to the inside of one.
We'll work to get you footage of the finish there. As, yes, for a moment there, Emerson was muted. You would have heard him confirming. Yes, Wyatt Brackett just held on through a natural green-white checkered attempt. Dakota Curtis finishes second. Alex Muscarella third. We'll work to get you footage of the finish after our overtime break. Ah, boy. I think a call to Spectrum is due after this one.
For what it's worth, Brackett again, he just held the middle lane of the racetrack, and he did his thing. Drivers tried to challenge him, but he was sat right there, kept the flat foot. I'm sure once the green lights came on, he never looked back. Had a moment there. He was, again, being challenged by Muscarella, but Muscarella could not keep up through 1 and 2. Brackett, a well-deserved celebration.
This is
Adding
really
another
big.
one.
For Wyatt Brackett.
Absolutely.
I know the club says New York, and he might now live in New York and might have changed that, but I know him as a main driver. This is really, really big for Wyatt and really his family. He used to race with David Brackett, his father, in the Bluegrass iRacing series here on PitStop TV. And wow. This is really big. We've never had an opportunity to catch a win for Wyatt Brackett. This is really, really big. It's really cool for us to see a driver go through all of that, and I shouldn't say all of that, but to go through, I think, growth as a driver on iRacing, go through a bunch of time, and come on back and get a race win finally. It's really cool, really, I think, rewarding for a driver as well to be racing for this amount of time, and we've seen him for quite some time and be able to go to victory lane this season. Let's go ahead and bring in our race winner, Wyatt Brackett in the number 10. Gotta find him first. He's down there with his fast banana teammates of Curtis Kelly and Ryan Kendall, both of which had, Kendall had a lot of trouble this evening, getting caught up in a couple of incidents, and Kelly was in this to the end. But Wyatt Brackett finally is going to go to victory lane. And Wyatt, it's been a long season coming to this point. You've got a lot of success here at Atlanta, but never a win. You're finally checking off that box this evening.
It feels so good. So good to finally get that win at Atlanta and to sweep the race. That's huge.
That's right. You get the couple of stage wins earlier to maximize points this evening. How much does that mean to your season? You're already one of the top drivers, if not the top driver, without a win this season. You go out there, you get it done here in Atlanta.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on the standings, and I was 5th coming into tonight with no win. So I think that's pretty good, being consistent and finally getting this win to just keep the momentum going, man. It's huge. It really locked me into the playoffs. So I'm stoked to pull this one out.
Going to victory lane finally in race 18. That means it's downhill, I guess, as far as intensity for you to the playoffs. We have, 5, 6, 7 more races, something like that until we get there. And then the intensity is ramped right back up. How do you now prepare for round 1 just to get through that first round and try and get to the second and third rounds?
Just be patient like I was in this race. Most races I try and be patient, but I told myself after this break I was going to be a little more aggressive. So I was more aggressive tonight than I normally am, and I think I got to keep that up to really put myself in those positions to win.
So number 10 going to victory lane with Fast Banana Racing, and you guys are kind of all over the team standings board. We checked it out, presented by Auto Tempest earlier today. What are you guys doing as a team, especially at tracks like Atlanta, where it's a super speedway now, to try and better yourselves in that team standing?
Well, yeah, we try and work with each other a lot, especially during practice right before the race, and we had a really solid, top 10 for almost all of our guys tonight. Daniel got taken out early, and then James, who was running the top 10 all night too, ended up getting taken out as well. So those guys mostly had issues. I was really the only one that didn't have any kind of damage tonight from any contact with anything, so it ended up paying off. But we're working as a team. They came on board late, so we're trying to make it up now later in the season.
There you go, Wyatt Brackett going to victory lane. And you know what? I noticed your club now is New York, and I know you as a main driver. Did you move or something between our time with Bluegrass and now here with MPI?
No, when I signed up, everything was still as New York, even though I'm in New England, so it just automatically put me as New York. And somebody said I have to email iRacing to change it or something. I always say I'm going to do it, but then I put it off. I really need to, because New England is obviously the best out there.
Well, yeah, I agree, especially New York versus New England. I mean, you have to get that one sorted out and get that New York name off of there. But congratulations this evening, Wyatt. Seriously, it's really cool to know you from the Bluegrass iRacing series from seasons past, years past now, and see you grow as a driver now to a race winner here in the MPI Cup Series. Really cool, really rewarding, and really happy for you, buddy.
I really appreciate all you guys do for us. You guys put on a great broadcast week in and week out, so I'm glad you guys are here for us.
That's Wyatt Brackett. Thank you, buddy. We'll let him go and celebrate with his team of Fast Banana Racing. A really rewarding one here, Emerson, for race number 18 of the season. Car number 10 going to victory lane. Let's take a look at our unofficial race results for now. And Wyatt Brackett going to victory lane by less than a tenth over Dakota Curtis and Alex Muscarella. That's your top 3. Mario Miranda into the top 4 as well. Kevin Hurley, Lawson Peel, Curtis Kelly, Steven Stempian, Chris Shoemaker, and Warren Kyle Keith, other members of your top 10. And I think highlights, of course, have to include guys like Dakota Curtis, Alex Muscarella completing your top 3, as well as Kevin Hurley in the top 5 this evening. And really, I think you have to look at Chris Shoemaker, Emerson. He was nearly out of this race, had so much front-end damage, and hangs on for a 9th place finish.
I'm going to be real. I don't know how he was able to bring that car back into competitive form, but he'll get 9th. It's Ray Rogers who finishes out in the 11th position. Travis Stevens in 12th. Justin Erb, 13th. Daniel Michel, 14th. Sean Kalis will round out the top 15. Richard Swavely had a lot of trouble early, but he'll recover for a 16th place finish. Brad Fulham had a big incident early on in this race. Also, 17th, 4-45. Joseph Mahar is 18th. And that's the last driver within 1 second of the race winner. Dustin Reeves came home 19th. 1.1 seconds back, and Ryan Kendall 20th to round out the top 20.
Finishing in the 21st position, we'll find Casey Knighton, then Brandon Banks 3 seconds back, just trying to hang on to this finish. Finishing in the 23rd spot, your first car 1 lap down, well, actually 2 laps down, is Bill Schoonover back in 23rd. Judd Danielson finishes 24th. Judd Danielson, then Chris Progar in 25th. Then it's Cody Kinsey, Kip Easley, Joe Sanchez, Parker Bland, and Justin Hendry putting their roots on Heartbreak Row.
Yeah, and to round things out, it was Justin Winters in 31st, James Kunkel 32nd, Zach Wilson, after having a great run early on, he'll be 33rd. Daniel Holdcroft started looking at getting some airtime there in turn 3, 34th, forward to 31. Isaac Mock out early, he'll be 35th. Ross Harlow did not take the green flag tonight.
So 36 cars this evening, 35 of them actually started and finished this race. really intriguing show, Emerson. We saw things change throughout the day. We saw really no tire strategy, mostly just fuel strategy in stage 1, then trying to hang on, trying to keep themselves in the running of this one, and that was it. And unfortunately, well, connection issues hit us big time there at the back end of the race. Before we even go to our post-race break, we're going to try and work on something here to get you, and we're going to do this live quickly, to try and get you guys a visual of what happened there at the end. So stand by with us as I work on this one. This is all being done very much on the fly. So give me one moment as, well, we're working with, this should do it. Yes, here we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and we have to do this all very interestingly. So here, this is a Discord window. So thank you, Emerson, for doing this one for us. And Emerson, go ahead and let the tape roll.
You get to see it there as the safety vehicle heading to pit lane. Lost some fuel and control to restart. Green flag flies there. And Pio and Brackett get off and away. Everybody else stacked up behind.
And we know this is pretty framey footage here, guys. We do appreciate you sticking with us and just trying to see the end of this race. Even I'm trying to see it, admittedly. And you can see this restart. We saw this part. We saw up until the white flag, and of course, that's where it decided to blink out. But there's Wyatt Brackett's move, and I talked about Dakota Curtis going high, Muscarella going to the bottom, 3 wide, and getting that race winner, 4-time race winner of Lawson Peel out of the way. Then right here, Emerson, your entire top 3 are all looking for their first win of the season.
Absolutely, coming to the white flag. Brackett held. Curtis was giving him a huge push at outside lane. Kevin Hurley trying to make something happen. Muscarella and Miranda tried to get something going on that inside lane. Both everybody battling one another second on back. Wyatt Brackett just held his line there in the middle of the racetrack, and everybody else had to do their own work.
Side by side on the backstretch they went. Here you go. You can see Muscarella down low. Curtis holding tough with the 10 car. Hurley up top, starting to diminish that help. And Miranda on the bottom. It's just going to be a top line run to the end here, I guess. Yeah, for Wyatt Brackett. Just top line to the end. 3 wide across the line and some contact there from Muscarella and Curtis. And then we came back right here, of course. We missed exactly just that one last lap of the race. And came back. But I know it's pretty framey, pretty pixelated there, but at least you got an idea of what happened. We are going to go to post-race break. We have a few more drivers to catch up with by the names of Dakota Curtis, Alex Muscarella, and Chris Shoemaker. Stick with us here at PitStop TV. We'll be right back.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Welcome back to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, and again, we apologize for the finish of the race being under the circumstances that it was here in PitStop TV. Of course, it's the last lap, just like it was 3 laps to go at Dover. But thankfully, again, thanks to Emerson Arden, we at least got footage there of the last lap, and we're able to show you guys at least an idea of what happened, even if it was from 1970, but it was a view at least as to what happened on the last lap of the race and how Wyatt Brackett won here at Atlanta. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and bring in Dakota Curtis. And Emerson, here is driver of the one car, the Sunoco Racing Fuels #1 Toyota Camry.
And we do have driver of the #1, Dakota Curtis, making a valiant effort there at the end, ended up coming up 1 spot short. But Dakota, you were a force to be reckoned with most of the day. You were giving great pushes in the middle part of that of the front pack. What more did you need to get her done tonight?
I mean, Alex just shot to the bottom at the he split Lawson Peel there on with 2 laps to go, and didn't really give me a lane to make it a shot for the win. But I mean, we'll take P2. It's not the win that we want. I've never won in my own series, so I wanted to get the win and just say, see, I told y'all I got it. I got the speed, but. Man, I mean, it was a fun finish. I'm glad I could push Wyatt to the win. I mean, it's a Rise Studio design car, so I'm glad that we could get at least a car designed by me in victory lane. So it was a fun finish. It was a good finish that the league needed. So
right on. How about your thoughts on Venue Atlanta today, and then getting the chance to have your league, your drivers run on it in a league race setting? What did you make of it?
I think we had probably one of our best league races this year. I will say that there was so many different lanes. Like, you could drive high, you could drive low, you could drive in the middle, and it was it was an amazing race for our league in general. Like, I loved it. I think that New Atlanta is a good addition to NASCAR and even, iRacing itself. I do enjoy plate track racing. That's actually like one of my favorite types of racing, and it's cool to have a plate track on not a actual typical plate track, what people would think of when they think plate tracks. So it was really nice, and I enjoyed the racing. I loved it, and I'm glad we could get the #1 Sunoco Racing Fuel car up into the podium finish and get a second place finish. Had 5 of those in this league, so I just want to get my win out there. So my time's coming. I'll get it. And thank you guys for everything that you guys did with putting us on and broadcasting us this season. So.
Right on. Well, driver of the #1, Dakota Curtis, of course, person who runs the show here tonight, coming on 1 spot short of a potential victory tonight here at Atlanta. That win is going to have to come another day. But you are looking pretty stout to get that done soon, Dakota. Best luck to you in the coming weeks, and hopefully we're talking to you.
Thank you, guys.
Dakota Curtis finishes in the 2nd position this evening, even gets some laps led there, 7 to the tally. Let's go ahead and bring in 3rd place finisher, though. Wrapping up the podium is another Chevrolet. Alex Muscarella showing us that Mozzarella 6 can travel at 175 plus miles per hour. Alex, it's always good to talk to you. 3rd place this evening. How'd you do it?
Well, I feel like most of the night I just, I was playing tire strategy. It was just like I was taking care of my stuff. I was falling back in that second pack and then just pulling the pack back together and taking advantage of it. I watched some people do some races here earlier in the week, and I saw that realistically, the best way to run the track was to run it like a 1.5 miles, like run the traditional line. It saved tires and was faster. So I was just doing that, taking care of my stuff and driving through the field late. Really wish Dakota got a better restart, the restart prior, because I was hooked right up, gave him a really good push, and just didn't get going. And then on the last one there, feel like I could have had it, but I just couldn't get to his quarter panel, and then Mario side drafted me on the front, which let Dakota get by me. So it was fun. Definitely fun race. A lot better than I thought it was going to be.
and definitely different from anything else we'll see the rest of the season, but there are still several various and I guess a good variety, a grab bag of racetracks here to the regular season finale. You're in a decent spot in points, but could use a boost. How do you win in these remaining, 7 races to the end of the playoff, or end of the regular season, rather?
I mean, I've had a race-winning car for a good couple weeks here. I just need to not get ran over, or I just need to not shoot myself in the foot, and I'll get a win here. You know, I can do it on strategy. I can do it on speed. It's coming.
Well, Wyatt Brackett coming into today was 1 point ahead of you and was the best driver that had not won a race. Now you will then be the best driver that has not won a race, at least by point standings. So I think your time is certainly on the way. A lot of races coming up: New Hampshire, Pocono, Indianapolis, Michigan. Are any of those summer stretch races maybe going to suit the fancy for Car 48?
I mean, I'm gonna be running how I've been running.
Fair enough.
I've hit it. I've hit a stretch. I've been the race-winning car in multiple weeks now. I just either get wrecked or just it doesn't fall my way. So, yeah, I mean, I've been the best guy without a win all season, and a few guys have backed into my wins. So, we'll see. I hope to get this knocked out because I should have won by now.
There you go. Alex Esgrella looking for the win that he should have had by now. Alex, best of luck to you in the coming weeks. New Hampshire coming up, Pocono, and a few others. Best of luck out there in Car 48.
Thank you, guys.
Alex Esgrella, I think definitely should be on that winner list at some point here very, very soon. I think he's right. He should have had a win by now, Emerson, and it's definitely on the way. It looks like Chris Shoemaker said, nope, we're out of here. Does not want his interview for the evening. So you know what that means? We're going to go ahead and talk to Parker Bland. So T. Bland, if you're still out there, this is your time to hang around. Emerson here is driver of the 01, kind of an infield care center interview after his incidents earlier in the day.
Yeah, Parker got caught up in an incident there in that third stage. Parker, what happened there?
I saw Zach go down to the grass. I don't really remember what happened there, and I hit the brakes to avoid him, but I just didn't slow down enough, avoided everybody, and with the old tires, the car just went straight for the wall.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty bad hit. Once you hit the wall, was it KO'd?
It wasn't like killed. It just broke like the right front, and I was down a little RPM, but once I got it fixed, I could like keep with people. Just 18 laps down, you can't really do much.
That's fair. Before you got caught up in the incident, you did, of course, get to experience the new Atlanta. I'd imagine one of your first few times in a league race setting. How was it?
Oh, it was pretty fun. It was like a mix of like old Atlanta, but also like super speedway like, because you still had like that really extreme tire wear. It was pretty fun.
And now looking at the stretch of races coming up, is anything catching your eye in the summer stretch before we head into the playoffs here to kind of get you up in there into the mix?
I'm excited for New Hampshire next week, and I think Talladega's a cutoff, if I'm remembering correctly, so I'm excited for that one too.
Yeah, Daytona is the cutoff. Essentially the same type of racing.
Oh, yeah.
The result today will be what is the deciding factor for some drivers' fates, season fates in the coming weeks. But all right, looking forward to New Hampshire. I guess we are looking forward to see how you do there. But Parker, unfortunate circumstances tonight have you finishing 17 laps down, but best luck to you in the coming weeks, and hopefully we're talking to you then.
Yeah, thank you.
Driver of the 01, Parker Bland. He ended up finishing 29th, 17 laps down due to that accident with 51 getting shot down to the bump side of the racetrack and back into traffic.
We saw it there for a moment. We'll bring it back up, actually. The MPI Cup Series scheduled for 2022. And you can see where we are. Race 18 now complete. Add Wyatt Brackett to the winner list. In fact, we'll go ahead and do that. Well, I'll do that live in my notes and get him added, and we can kind of run through who's won a race so far this season. So for Atlanta, we'll mark Atlanta 2 in our notes here. Number 10, Wyatt Brackett added to the list. What did he leave? 51 laps, I do believe. Pretty stout, actually, as well. Get 51 laps led in a race like this. That takes quite a bit of talent. I don't recall where he started. We'll get that later on. But anyways, Daytona, yet Austin Reedy. He doubled up and won Auto Clubs the first 2 races of the season. Then Las Vegas went to Warren Kyle Keith. And since then, it's been the Mario Miranda, Lawson Peel, Steven Stempien show. It was Mario Miranda at Phoenix. First Atlanta race, by the way, on the old surface was Joe Sanchez. Then Lawson Peel at Circuit of the Americas, where we picked up coverage in race 6. Then Emerson, it was Zach Wilson at Richmond. Mario Miranda at Bristol Dirt for his second win of the season. Steven Stempien got his first win of the season back at Talladega. Then Dover, it was Mario Miranda back to victory lane. Stempien doubled up and went for race win number 2 at Darlington. Then at Kansas, it was Lawson Peel. At Charlotte, it was Joe Sanchez again. At Gateway, it was Steven Stempien again. At Sonoma, it was Lawson Peel. At Nashville, it was Lawson Peel. Then last week, or last race at Road America, it was Mario Miranda. And now this evening, it's Wyatt Brackett. An interesting set of winners. They've kept the winners towards the top of the board for sure. They've kept the wins up there with Mario Miranda, Lawson Peel, Steven Stempien. Now we're starting to hit that stretch where we spread out. I really think, as I said earlier in this race, races like Pocono, Indianapolis, well, Pocono, Michigan, Daytona are going to spread the wins apart. I think even Indianapolis is going to give us maybe a surprise winner this season. I have no clue what's going to happen in New Hampshire. I have no clue what's going to happen at Richmond or Watkins Glen, but I think the speedway races left in this regular season are going to spread the wins around.
Yeah, certainly. You look at tracks like Pocono in Indian, Michigan. Those are big racetracks. And again, I can read back to Outlaws, Michigan. We had a Jeremiah Stutzman get that race done on fuel mileage. Definitely, there's multiple ways to get things done at these racetracks. And then Pocono, Indy, they're very niche tracks. You race them in a way unlike no other. And so maybe just suits someone's driving style a little bit more than the rest. And of course, Watkins Glen, a high-speed road course with these next-gen cars. It's going to be intriguing to see if this car and track combination just becomes better for someone, I guess, out of the blue. We'll have to see what's coming up in the coming weeks. But I am excited for this summer stretch.
In New Hampshire next week, I know the Outlaw Sim Series was recently at New Hampshire. I'm excited to see how these cars do there myself and see it all firsthand. New Hampshire is going to be interesting next week. And of course, NASCAR, we're back on sync with the NASCAR schedule going to New Hampshire and then Pocono. And Indianapolis will be a little bit different because I think we might be headed to the Oval. I think Dakota Curtis might have to get that official word out, but I think we're headed to the oval, rectangle, whatever you want to call it, for Indianapolis, and back to the normal track as per NASCAR with the rest of this regular season. And as you can see with the race number colors, we're covering all the rest of the yellow races. So unfortunately, that means we only have 6 races left in PitStop TV coverage. But that also does mean that we're heading into a big stretch of time where you and I, Emerson, we can sit back and watch this season unfold, beginning at Daytona when Podium Esports resumes coverage of this season and into the playoffs here in the 2022 MPI Cup Series season. It's been a lot of fun this evening, Emerson, but a lot of broadcasts are still on the way at PitStop TV throughout the rest of the week. And really, the week beginning here in about 15 minutes. And, well, we're going to kick things off with the Outlaws Sim Series at Daytona International Speedway Wednesday evening at 7:30 Eastern. So from a super speedway race, Emerson, with Gen 7 cars to a super speedway race again, we'll talk more about that in a moment. First, let's talk about Thursday evening with the North American Racing League Porsche Cup schedule heading, season number 2, heading over to Silverstone in the UK. Of course, Formula 1 was there just a few weeks ago. That'll be a lot of fun. And you can see Sunday we have New Hampshire Motor Speedway lined up for the MPI Cup Series. But Emerson, tell us about that race Wednesday night at Daytona.
Wednesday night, it's going to be intriguing to see if our point leader Max Service makes it. He only has a 9-point lead over his teammate Seth Berger. And then Daytona, of course, we're into that stretch of the season that we are set up for the playoffs, just like we are in MPI as well. Daytona, it has potential to become a wild card winner and get somebody into the playoffs that may just not be in it yet. So a lot is for us as we take Sim Series to Daytona. I believe it's 95 laps Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. You won't want to miss it. A potential point lead change is up in the air as well.
So a lot to talk about, a lot to think about here with upcoming broadcasts here at PitStop TV. We're coming up on the 1/2 season mark for NARL on Thursdays, and of course we just hit the 1/2 season mark for Outlaws and, well, now MPI as well. So we're getting into some juicy racing here on PitStop TV and a lot of fun stuff on the way. A lot of great championship battles throughout the rest of the year, and we'll talk about a regular season battle down to the end of the end of the regular season and into the playoffs here for MPI. That will do it this evening from from Atlanta here on PitStop TV. Go ahead and follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, the whole lot of them, even broadcasting over on Twitch. A big shout out to all of our partners as well here at the MPI Cup Series. We'll begin off with, of course, Max Pappas Innovations, continue on with Auto Tempest and KaylessSynthetics.com, doing so much for us here with this series, and our partners on PitStop TV, Whiplash Media, SimCam, SimRapMarket.com, and Permanent Makeup in Cryo in Maine. To everybody here at PitStop TV, Emerson Arden on the mic with me this evening, Zach Murtis joining us on social media coverage. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. We will see you next time, hopefully Wednesday evening, from the Daytona International Speedway for coverage of the Outlaws Sim Series.